night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Oh, look at me. I'm retarded. I'm a globe.
No one told you life was gonna be this way. Your job's a joke, you broke, your love life's the old way. It's like you're always stuck in second gear. When it hasn't been your day, week, your month, even your year. But I'll be there for you when the rain starts to pour. I'll be there for you like I've been there before. I'll be there for you 'cause I'm there for you
The whole system is designed to disconnect you from your intuition. Why? Disconnected people are easy to manipulate. Everything from sunscreen to politics to the food industry. It's all designed to disconnect and manipulate you. We are in the middle of a war right now, but it's not a traditional war. It's a war on consciousness. It's a war on freedom. This is the time to listen, not to the news. No, your intuition, your gut, your heart. Love is the greatest weapon against darkness. How do you love more? You begin by loving yourself. How do you love yourself? You listen to the messages your body is telling you.
Nobody is coming to save you. Get up. Be your own hero.
Slaves used to work all day, every day, with no pay. But they got free food, water, and shelter. Today, we work all day, nearly every day, and we get paid. But the money we make, we spend on food, water, and shelter. We're still slaves. The only thing that has changed is the illusion of freedom.
I'm scared, Dad.
Do you trust me, son?
Yes.
Come on, son. Rule number 1, never trust anybody.
Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square. Stop! Don't touch me there. This is my no-no square.
Now let me see you whack. Drop it to the floor, drop it to the floor then.
Shorty call me Big Pimpin'. No, I ain't bluffing. I'm with your mom in the kitchen, making blueberry muffins.
Taste the biscuit. Taste the goodness of the biscuit.
That's a number. It's definitely a positive integer. So that's what we're going to go with. Well, my playback over here on YouTube it was a couple little things was buffering there for a minute. It was pissing me off. This fucking YouTube is sucks. That and the internet, and boy, I'll tell you what I've noticed since these data centers have been going up, these flat cameras going in. I've noticed a heavy duty decrease on the fucking speed of the internet and file downloads, all kinds of shit. It's really dragging. I thought they said when they put in this 5G, you was going to be able to download like about 50 million goddamn movies in a half a second or some shit like that. I've seen no improvement, none.
A decrease.
It's just
especially these last couple months.
Safe and effective. It's like that one. See, they just say some dumb shit and people go, you know, like a bunch of fucking retards, trained seals, clapping as their masters put the clamp down on them. We need more of it. Did you ever see the movie Life of Brian?
A long time ago.
With Monty Python. Remember when they threw him in the dungeon and there was a guy hanging on the wall behind him?
Yeah, yeah.
And he is so Stockholm syndrome. He's going, oh, bloody marvelous race, the Romans. Why, I deserve much worse for what I did. You know, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? But you see those types of people and they're going, well, if you don't have anything to hide, you shouldn't have to worry about it. If you're not doing anything wrong, you shouldn't have to worry. Well, what about when they change the definition of doing something wrong? I could name a bunch of shit that you can't do now that you used to be able to do 30 years ago.
Yeah.
They've changed the definition of something wrong so many goddamn times. You're guilty of committing at least at any given moment throughout the day, and you don't even goddamn know it.
Yeah.
It's insane. And people, they just glom right into it. Well, I'm not going to waste a whole lot of time. I'll get some shout outs here in a minute, but what we got tonight, and I called it Belly of the Beast documentary review because there's a documentary. I ran across a interview with the creators, the hell was their name again? I should know. I had to search it. Oh wait, maybe get over here to the right one. No. Let's see. Is it over here? Let me shrink. Oh, now I'm getting. Oh, you know what? I turned on the sound on YouTube or on Rumble, and I didn't even realize it. I heard it echo. I was about to get after you, True Few. It was actually me. Ain't that some shit? Anyway, let me see. How do I shrink this fucking thing back down? There we go. It'll say in the beginning of it. Okay. Anyway, it's called The Belly of the Beast, and they go into some of the occult origins of the founding of this country, and primarily a lot of it with Washington, D.C., including the mural that's on the dome of the Capitol that depicts the apothecation of George Washington, you know, lifting him to a godlike status, the connections of Osiris or Apollo, whichever you care, and the resurrection place of Osiris, which is, you know, it gets into some really deep shit, including the occult symbolism involved in the layout of the street design. And I'll tell you, I was learning some shit that I had never heard before. Did you know there's a little tiny Washington monument that's only 12 feet tall that's under the ground in front of the Washington Monument?
I did not know that.
Yeah. It's got like a little manhole cover. You lift that off, and there's the top of it right there. And it's 12 feet long, 12 feet in mockery of the 12 disciples. So yeah, I think we're really going to get into some cool shit. But look at here. We got Marlene Brown's here with us. Tommy Rogers. We got Level Water with us. Always Level Water. This is what I always say. Water doesn't lie, but when it does lie, it lies level. Let's see who we got. Also, Greg, good old Greg. Greg's out there in Colorado. How you doing, my friend? You need to get your ass off to Duffy's church and get yourself saved now. I'm telling you right now. That guy, he's the thing. I want to show y'all something really funny. McToon put out I'll show you in just a minute. Let me get this thing out. Lord Racer is here with us. You have to say it like that, like Star Wars. Lord Racer. You got David Koresh here, Heron Song. Yeah. Little birdie from up north there in the Canada. We got Aaron Soff here, 101 Mad Mac. I've got new people. Some people seen before. I'm welcome to y'all, and those of you that have subscribed, welcome aboard Crazy Train. We get into some shit, we tell it like it is, and if people don't like it, they can quit. Yeah. Well, here, and some of the older ones, Eldon Bean, Mr. Tahiti. He's here, Tommy Rogers, Lisa Marie Tattersall. I'm going to give you a call tomorrow, Lisa. I got something fun for us to do. Let's see. Plain and Simple Truth is here with us. LJ, he's an older one. Mickles Mard. Is that Mickles Simard? I think that's a relatively new one. Indie Rush, we in. Let's see. And Renee Bernays, she's been here like since the beginning of this channel. Been a long time supporter. Moderator on here. She does a good job. She's a good cheerleader too. She's always telling people, reminding you, hit the like button. Listen, people, it helps in the algorithm. I am shadow banned like a son of a bitch. They don't fucking, they're relentless on me. And every little bit helps. That's why I'm not monetized. They don't dare. No advertisers would dare take me on because I'm unpredictable. Let's see who we got. Don H is here. US Ape. Don H has been with us for a little bit, but still he's relatively new compared to some of the people in here, right? So yeah, we got a good group of people. Aaron, who's that? Martin Haley here. Frank Henicki. I hope I'm saying that right. Marlene Brown. Good people. So this documentary is really going to, I think, be eye-opening for a lot of people. We may have to do it in 2 parts. It's relatively long. I was only able to find an interview with short clips from the documentary on YouTube. And that's how I got across this. And then I did and scoured all over the place until finally, right here on Rumble, I found a copy of it uploaded. And ironically, it's the documentary channel. So, hey, everything's good, fair use and all that good shit. And we will take stops from time to time. If anybody's got questions or wants to come up here on the show, that would be fantastic. If you find value in what we do here, as I said before, we're not monetized. Every little bit helps. We have links for PayPal and Venmo, as well as the Cash App. You're going across the bottom of the screen. You can email me from those from that email address on there as well. And there's some good links down there in the description. Tamara Cheville's coffee table books on flat Earth, nukes being a hoax, gravity, a book she wrote that was dedicated to myself and Nathan Thompson. Wait, is it Nathan? Who's the British Nathan? Oakley. Nathan Oakley. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Nathan. Too many Nathans. I got a nephew named Nathan too, or rather a second cousin. Yeah, and them hot dogs. Nobody can forget about the Nathan's hot dogs. They're the best, you know.
Yep.
If you're their quality grade A buttholes are used in the making of Nathan's hot dogs. Don't forget that. So yeah. Also, McToon put a post up on Facebook today promoting his video for tonight because supposedly part of Elon's rocket is supposed to smash into the moon and shit or whatever. I don't know what the fuck is going on. Anyway, he's doing a show and he put an advertisement out for it. And let me show you. I put a comment on it.
I got to see this.
Oh, yeah. So I put on there, I said, you could watch this snooze fest of tunes, or you can be thoroughly entertained and even a participant here instead. And I put a link to my channel. So where all the rest of them that he advertised after that one on any flat earth groups or whatever, he turned the commenting off. So I just repost it with that. It's just, you know, fuck him. Fed. What do you call a Canadian Fed? You can't really call him a Fed, can you? You got to call him something different.
Yeah, I don't know what they call their freaking people.
Asshole. That'll work. I like that. Yeah, asshole. Royal Canadian Mounties, because they try to mount you and fuck you. See. Anyway, with no further ado, I think we'll start on off with this and let's see where it goes. Let's see what happens here.
Yeah, let's see it.
Wow, that was good. Oh, it's not over.
I'm Justin Fall.
And I'm Wes Fall. And we are the Fall Brothers.
We would like to personally thank you for taking the time to watch our newly released director's cut version of Belly of the Beast. This was by far one of the most challenging films we've ever made, and we want to encourage everyone to watch this with an open mind, as the contents of this film will definitely challenge much of what you've been taught and even believed over the years.
This is a one-of-a-kind film that exposes the deep state in a way that hasn't been done before, and we will present many images and visuals that have long been lost in the black vault of historical revisionism. We recommend that you take notes and research every claim for yourself. Please don't just take our words at face value.
This film contains some graphic material that may be unsuitable for younger viewers. Unfortunately, the graphic nature of this content is necessary in exposing the harsh realities of the film's claims, so parental guidance is strongly suggested.
We thank you again for your time and interest in our director's cut version of Belly of the Beast.
We've got a lot to cover, so let's go ahead and start the adventure.
We've been told that America is a Christian country from its origin, one nation under God. We've been taught that our government is for the people, by the people, and that our party system is set up to provide checks and balances. We've been sold the American dream of fireworks on the 4th of July, manicured lawns and white picket fences. We've lived with the mindset of safety and peace, trusting that our leaders are protecting and preserving our best interests. But what if it's all been just a grand deception? What if the God, worshipped in secret by government leaders in our nation's capital, is in fact our enemy? And many of our leaders have been venerating him secretly through arcane rituals, setting the scene for the incarnation of this ancient entity. What if everything we thought we knew about this great nation was designed to bring about the greatest conspiracy of all time? A conspiracy for the souls of humanity. What if I told you that America was founded by the darkest elite secret societies, and that there are still powerful remnants, active elements, controlling hands in high positions, carrying this torch, and that your apple pie was just a dream?
It is in America that the transformation will take place, and has already commenced.
World democracy was the prominent dream of the classical occult philosophers, and it was well known in their circles that thousands of years ago, the mystical orders of Egypt knew of the Western Hemisphere, and specifically a great continent. This continent was America. It was during this time that a bold resolution was made, declaring that this Western continent should become the site of the coming philosophic empire of the world. Now, scholars and historians can't agree on specific dates for this arcane declaration, although it would have been before the time of Plato, based on veiled references in his works.
The Greek biographer Plutarch described ancient voyages that portray this great continent in the Western Hemisphere being visited by the ancient Greeks. They not only reached our shores, but explored part of the Great Lakes area. Through symbolism they preserved in mythology, their knowledge of this very continent we call America, which the ancient polytheistic Greeks called blessed. This continent was anciently set apart for coming generations in the great human experiment of the democratic commonwealth. This great continent would become the New World, the New Atlantis, or what Jeremiah the prophet called the hindermost of the nations.
There has seemingly always been religious persecution, specifically involving the dark arts of magic and occult mystery schools throughout the centuries. It was common for kingdoms to outlaw these types of practices in the public eye for different political reasons. So in order for a nation to fulfill the esoteric prophecies, it must first offer freedom to practice the old religions of the world. Furthermore, when we consider this freedom of religion declared in America's foundation, we now understand that this had absolutely nothing to do with protecting Christianity, as we've been told, but was rather a cloak for the occult societies to freely advance, officiating their long prophesied philosophic empire of the world. America would be a soil rich for the dawning of the new order of the ages, or as declared by our founders, the Novus Ordo Seclorum.
The occult was spreading quickly in the West by the late 1600s, drawing many settlers from all over the world, offering them a safe haven to seek out and practice the ancient arts. Many forms of Babylonian and Egyptian magic, astrology, Kabbalah, polytheistic paganism, and the likes of such were prevalent. And of course, Christianity was also present. In addition, a hybrid mystical version of Christianity was quite popular in those days. Moving forward on the timeline, the celebrated founding fathers by majority are known to have been a mixture of secret society occultists, deists, and even universal spiritualists with a side of Christianity. They tactfully aimed at cultivating the prophesied New World, where the new order of enlightenment would radiate as a beacon of light to all the nations of the world.
Interesting is the belief that America is the land previously known in the ancient world as Atlantis. But regardless if there's any truth to that, we have an ironic bit of overlooked history I think we should mention here. Many early 19th century observers held with a high regard this idea that there was an advanced civilization widely populating the North American continent long before the American Indians ever did. As a matter of fact, in 1811, the governor of New York, DeWitt Clinton, told the New York Historical Society that this was a well-proven fact. And he even went on to explain that there are numerous remains of ancient fortifications that were found in this very country, America, demonstrating a population that far exceeded that of the Indians. But of course, this type of history tends to get covered up and lost in an age of cognitive dissonance.
It's important to note that the 19th century American Iroquois Indians were reported as having esoteric fraternities, or what we would call occult secret societies, among their tribes. This is yet another historical fact that was documented by Governor DeWitt Clinton. Researchers explained these esoteric Indian fraternities to be a form of ancient Freemasonry prevalent in the land. These claims were taken seriously when the Seneca leader, known as Red Jacket, as well as other New York area Indians, were seen wearing Freemasonic-style medals in the shape of the square and compass. This is a fact well documented in the 1903 New York State Museum monograph titled Metallic Ornaments of the New York Indians by archaeologist William M. Beauchamp.
So we see the Luciferian god of Freemasonry thriving in the land, being worshipped and served here long before the founding fathers had officiated the American government. It would seem that neither the early settlers nor the Indians had brought Lucifer worship to the land, but were rather continuing the occult traditions of the prior civilizations of this great Western continent. Multiple civilizations, ancient and modern, living and acting under the same demonic principality, all on the same American soil. This idea is further vindicated as we look to the hidden history of the name America.
Tom Horn explains in his book Zenith 2016 that there is much encoded in the name America. Pointing to the works of famous theosophists and historians, he breaks down rich taken. It is related to Mesoamerican history, serpent worship, and giants. And according to Freemasonry, connects the founding of the United States and its capital designers with wisdom derived from the fallen flying seraph.
According to Manly P. Hall, Amaruka is linked directly with the plumed serpent god known as Amaru. This god was worshipped throughout the Americas under different names. He was the god Quetzalcoatl in Mexico, Gucamatz in Quiché, and in Peru, he was called Amaru. From Amaru comes the word America. Amaruka is literally translated land of the plumed serpent. These ancient American cultures had priestly orders and ceremonies, and according to Hall, these ceremonials are of most importance to students of Masonic symbolism and mystical philosophy, since they in fact establish beyond doubt the existence of ancient and divinely instituted mystery schools on the American continent.
It bears irrefutable evidence as to why the most notable occultists of centuries past had declared America to be the fulfillment of this ancient esoteric prophecy, becoming the world democracy capital, and the manger, if you will, awaiting the coming dark Messiah who will wage war against the saints. This secret destiny was very much in the minds of many of the founders of the United States and can easily be seen throughout our brief history as a nation.
The foundation of America, just like the rest of the foundation of the rest of the Western world, is built around two kinds of building blocks. There is an occult, esoteric set of building blocks, going back to the Enlightenment era, going back to the age of the Renaissance, pulling from ancient mythology. But there's also another form of building block. It is a Christian ethic. There is a Christian Judeo ethic that's also a part of the Western world. And it's the tension between those two sets that we see coursing through America, coursing through all of the world, really. But America is really unique because it's a clash point. You can travel around this country and there's a multitude of Christian crosses everywhere. America's a land of Christian crosses. And then you go to your state capitals, you go to your national capital, you go to your large skyscrapers, and you've got deity statues, you've got monuments erected to pagan gods and goddesses. And so while Christian crosses dot America, representing that Christian ethos that's a part of the American culture, there's also this sense of an occult, esoteric foundation. And the symbols of your democracy, the symbols of your national flavoring is built around monuments and statues representing deities from the ancient world. There's a paradox in America.
Well, I think in the birth of America, they had no question Freemasons and others involved in the very beginning, and there were other secret societies besides them. So you have that intertwined in the birth of America anyway, and that was by design.
There was an occult history and destiny even before 1776. The belief on the old world was that the United States could and would be a new Atlantis based upon the writings of Plato and also by the writings of Sir Francis Bacon. All of this information from the old world was inculcated in the design of Washington, D.C. There was an occult destiny and secret information that would influence the future of the United States.
One of the mystic prophets in the modern fulfillment of this destiny, and we've mentioned him before, was Manly P. Hall. Hall is considered to be the most influential Freemason of the 20th century. Hall was not just an entry-level Mason. He was actually a 33rd degree known as a Grand Sovereign Inspector General in the Luciferian craft.
Manly P. Hall believed that America had a secret destiny, that America is a special nation, that America was somehow set apart to lead the world forward with a new way of viewing not just itself, but viewing the world as a whole. Manly P. Hall had an incredible background in terms of esoteric understanding and occult philosophy. The work he did on Freemasonry, the work he did on occult philosophy, still today forms a very powerful foundation for the esoteric beliefs of various secret orders. Manly P. Hall had this incredible sense that America is a shining city, a city that all the world can look to. Now, he said it all throughout his writings. There's this illustrative model that America is this shining city, this beacon for the world.
Hall knew that the ancient writings all pointed forward to America becoming the philosophic empire that would be the pinnacle of the new order of the ages. By the time of Hall's life, it was already well known that the architecture in DC was predominantly reconstructed pagan temples of the old world, built to revive the power of the old gods, very similar to Vatican City in Rome. We're dealing with replicas of ancient ritual chambers and monuments erected on strategic street layouts that form magic symbols required for high-level sorcery.
Washington, D.C. was designed by L'Enfant, a Frenchman that was hired by George Washington. And he had some rather bizarre ways of looking at things. You know, if you were up on an airplane, of course, there weren't any at that time, but you would see the crosses and the types of shapes that, you know, are really reminiscent of some ancient, rather occultic figures and histories, which doesn't surprise me. That has attracted Washington, that is, people that have that particular proclivity over the years, which is why they have a giant Wicca community, and then, of course, a lot of demonic activity. Why I refer to Washington as the most evil place in the world.
The architecture is by design in Washington, D.C. I mean, you've got individuals that were designing occult symbolism, and it's done in a very big and broad way. I mean, it's almost like you've got to be up in the sky to look down at it. You've got to
look at that shit. You can like pick out so many different nodes and whatnot, and you know they all conform to magnetic ley lines, and they're all carrying some kind of a monument that's made of a hexagram crystalline structure, you know, like either limestone. These are electric. You know, I'm starting to get onto the idea of the living stone. You know, we have a really narrow we have a very narrow view of what constitutes something living. We think of it from only a purely organic, I don't know, biological construct, which is not necessarily true. Take crystals, for instance. They reproduce, they grow, they give off vibration. Are they living? They pass on their characteristics to their quote unquote offspring. So what's really going on there? Are they alive, but just not in the sense that we say or define life? You know, we have a very narrow perception of that. How you doing, Cubby?
Not bad, not bad. They're also individually unique in their own patterns. Like they never replicate one another.
Yep.
This also resembles a star fort too, if you don't know this. So
hey, perhaps maybe at one time it was. We know that's a possibility. It's to direct the energy, I guess, of flowing water.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what we see around all of these. And God knows that thing. They say it's built on a swamp. You know.
Yeah.
And it's carved out between Virgin, and Mary land. That's kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's very specific in its dimensions. You know, there's a lot more into it than what people actually realize. And this gets into that. This will get into that because there's harnessing of energetic powers. It's going to get into the resurrection of Osiris or Apollo, if you want. You know, either way, it's this is pretty good. What are y'all thinking so far?
What's the name of it? I just came into it.
I'm enjoying it.
It's called The Belly of the Beast.
Oh, that's right. Okay, sorry.
I put a link. There's a link in the description. I hope I saved. Let me make sure I did.
You told me.
Yes,
that.
sir, I did. It's down there at the like almost the last link, and called Belly of the Beast. It's on Rumble. I looked for it on YouTube, but I couldn't find it anywhere on here.
No way.
YouTube is really shitty. It's bad. You know, back in the day, you could get on a subject, watch a video, and just let it fucking autoplay. the next video would be along the lines of what you were watching, you know? And then they started all this fucking censorship bullshit, and the algorithm screwed everything up. Now it's just a hodgepodge of shit. People getting banned and fucking strikes and shit for some algorithm going through. Get ready, because that's who your accusers are going to be in the future for every fucking thing, whether it be a traffic ticket, what have you. It's going to be an AI fucking bullshit thing that you won't be able to fucking argue with.
Yeah. That's their intention with the algorithms, is to shape your mind. You know, they don't want you, it ain't the way people perceive it, like, oh, this is what they recommend to you, this is the most popular thing, this is what you want to see. Now they're trying to shape your mind towards something, and it ain't anything that you want.
Nope. And it's the worst part is it's not working. All they did was fuck up their platform.
Yeah,
it's not working. Proof of that is over 3,500 people subscribe to this channel, which does not fucking conform to the rules. We don't conform to the status quo. In fact, we call the status quo into question. See, we're not the type of people, we just go with the flow. We want to know what the fuck's really going on. You know, there's only two things I can think of that really go with the flow, and it's dead fish and shit. So take your pick and be with that. Be ungovernable. Don't make it impossible for them to control you. That's what your goal is. Number one.
Keep them guessing.
Yeah. Don't be predictable.
Yep.
Or does it become ungovernable? It's hard to say.
Understand the symbolism. That's all about hidden symbolism. You're talking even buildings that would be spiritually charged. They represent something. They, just like the temple in the Old Testament represents, things concerning God, concerning heaven. The Spirit of God guided the folks in Exodus to actually build those things to represent. So it's the alternative. It's the other side. It's them representing another reality. It's on the other side of the fence, spiritually speaking. It draws power. If they're spiritually guided for the architecture, then they're going to be drawing the powers. Ultimately, it involves the spirits that have guided them to take precedence territorially. We don't understand that a lot, but it's all about that unseen spiritual side that has guided them. That's the big issue.
To further investigate, we headed to Ground Zero to meet up with Tom Horn and discuss some of the secrets of popular American symbols and their connections to the ancient past.
44 signers at least of the U.S. Declaration of Independence were Freemasons. They were committed to an esoteric plan. You had Europeans that were influencing the early founding fathers here. Why? Because they had this deeply held occult idea that was based on Bacon's New Atlantis, right? That at one time, in fact, by the way, Bacon wrote that he thought the original Atlantis might have been right here, where Washington, D.C.'s capital city is now, and that this is where it would be rebuilt. This is where it would rise from the ashes, right? To become an occult democracy dedicated to all of the ancient pagan gods. Now, whenever we talk about this kind of stuff, I doubt that most of the people that are walking around us here in the Washington Mall have any clue the forethought that went in to the way this design is laid out, with the obelisk standing in our background. In the other direction, the U.S. Capitol Dome. What this symbolism all means had to do with their dream of building a new occult democracy that would once again give honor to the ancient pagan gods. And in fact, as you know, you can go on the official Library of Congress website and you can read an article called The Most Approved Plan. Right. In fact, all of the original paperwork is right over here in the Library of Congress, right? And what does it say? It says that they advertised to all these engineering firms around the world, France, America, right? For somebody to come up with a plan about how the capital city, which Jefferson named the capital city after Capitoline, the ancient Roman city over which Jupiter was the god that ruled all of the other gods. And so they advertised this engineering plan. And all these firms around the world turned in their submissions. They all wanted to get these lucrative Washington contracts, right, to build these buildings and edifices. Thomas Jefferson rejected all of the plans, and our own Library of Congress website tells us why. Because he specifically wanted to shepherd a plan in which this would be built based on the old Roman pantheon and dedicated to all pagan gods. That's what they want, and that's what they built, and that is the reason why, as you and I are standing here in the mall today, you have this obelisk. Now, it's the largest obelisk of its kind in the world, standing 6.666 inches high, 6.666 inches long, each measurement at the perimeter of the base. But it's really based on ancient Egyptian mythology, the original design of which, an obelisk facing a dome, the dome of Isis, the temple of Isis, right? It was a generator. It had alchemy involved with it. The purpose of it was to draw up from out of the underworld the seed of Osiris, so that Osiris could take his rightful place in the Pharaoh, and now Egypt has divine representation. Now, this is based on the myth of Osiris, the dying and rising god, and his sister, wife, the queen of magical skills, Isis, right?
Right.
And so the way the story unfolds in antiquity is that the evil brother Set gets 72 conspirators. Now, we know this number 72 is very important. We'll see it inside the U.S. Capitol dome in the 72 pentagrams. They waited 72 years from the signing of the Declaration of Independence to dedicate this obelisk to George Washington, right? So this number turns up over and over. 72 cosmocrators, evil spirits, help Set kill Osiris. They capture him, they nail him up in a box, and then chops him into 14 pieces. This also plays out, by the way, in American history. Chops him into 14 pieces, throws those pieces into the Nile River. Isis searched the banks of the Nile River, but she's only ever able to find 13 of the 14 pieces of Osiris. The missing piece is his phallus, his male organ. So what does Isis do? She takes the 13 pieces of Osiris and she affixes them together in a more perfect union. In the United States of America, we take the 13 colonies and we bring them together to form a more perfect union. And right here in the capital city that represents that union, we also recreate the dome and the obelisk.
So ancient Egyptian religion is literally woven into the fabric of the foundation of America. There is absolutely no denying the connections and symbolism between the two.
But America was founded as a Christian nation. Everybody knows America was founded as a Christian nation. It doesn't sound very fucking Christian to me. Pagan gods and fucking Osiris and all this other bullshit, man. Come on. God damn, people are dumb.
But it doesn't end with symbolism. This actually plays out in ritual. Right as Tom was getting to the breakdown of the ritual on location, we were met with what was later determined to be high-level audio surveillance. Our wireless microphone frequencies were being tapped into, causing our transmission to suffer interference at times. What you are about to witness is the product of that interference.
Now, so important, by the way, was this story where Isis creates a magical obelisk to replace the missing part of Osiris's epiphallic corpse, right? She sits on, to be blunt, the obelisk on the corpse of her dead husband brother. And Isis fashions the very first ever raising of Osiris enchantment ceremony, in which she calls forth the seed of her dead husband from up out of the underworld. It magically emits from the obelisk into her womb, and Isis becomes ever pregnant because she is constantly giving birth over and over again to the dying and rising god. Now, so important was that mythology, by the way, that it formed the center of the cosmology of all of ancient Egyptian magic, and then later into the mystery schools, Rosicrucianism, the Freemasons, right? So important was it that at the inauguration of every pharaoh who would take his role as the king of Egypt, during a festival called Opet, they would put the pharaoh on a barge and they would pull him up the Nile River. As he was on the Nile River, the laity of Egypt are walking along both sides of the river, right? And they're replaying the myth of Osiris and Isis. They take him to the largest religious complex ever built, the temple of Amun-Ra at Karnak, where he gets off the barge and he walks into the domed belly of Isis, the temple of Isis. And as he is standing in that domed building, looking out into the mall, into the courtyard where the obelisk is erect, and the masturbatory sun god Ra has rose up into the air so its heat can fall upon the obelisk to excite it, right? Inside the belly of Isis, the magicians of Egypt. And we know these guys had significant occult power, because when Moses goes down to face the Pharaoh to say, let my people go, they actually were able to recreate almost all of the miracles that God performed, as Moses is standing there with his shaft. So we know these guys had supernatural power. They recite the original raising of Osiris ceremony while the Pharaoh is standing inside of the dome. We don't know what exactly the language around that is, but we know it was preserved in the mystery schools. And across town from where we're standing right now at the Hera Dome, they claim that they continue to have this important language, the spells, the incantation for the raising of Osiris. Well, they would conduct that ceremony while the Pharaoh is standing there. The seed of Osiris would be drawn up from out of the underworld through the testes of the obelisk. It would magically emit into the ever-pregnant belly of Isis, and Pharaoh would become transmogrified. He entered into the building a man, he comes out of the building, he is a god. And all of Egypt celebrates because now they have divine representation. Now fast forward to this present day. The Freemasons openly admit that the obelisk, the dome, well, again, it's on the Library of Congress website. These are structures designed and dedicated to all of the ancient pagan gods. But how many Americans know that at the inauguration of every American president, while he is standing over here in the dome, the pregnant belly of Isis, looking out across the mall at the obelisk over here in the distance, that across town at the Hera Dome, the headquarters of the Scottish Rite Freemasonry 33rd degree, they are conducting the raising of Osiris ceremony in anticipation of the day that literally the spirit of Osiris, or who the Greeks would call Apollo, is going to rise up out of the underworld to become incarnate in a future American president who will take his rightful place according to the prophecy on the Great Seal of the United States, which both Franklin Delano Roosevelt and his vice president Henry Wallace wrote about. Wallace wrote about it in his biography, that he convinced Roosevelt, I think he was trying to take credit, but that he convinced Roosevelt that the prophecy on the Great Seal of the United States, the Novus Ordo Seclorum, was a Masonic prophecy pointing to a day in the future when the United States would rise up to take its rightful place as the capital of the New World Order, the fulfillment of the Sibylline prophecy that says what? That Apollo is going to rise up from out of the underworld, take his place in a man, and give birth to a new golden pagan age. Literally, the generator to make that happen is what we are standing in the middle of today doing this recording. And if you
Something I find interesting about that, does that golden age sound familiar? That golden age bullshit? I think, not saying that he is, but I think he wanted to be. I think Trump wanted to be this Apollo. He's got a lot of statues of Apollo, and there's a lot with that. And I think that he, knowing these rituals and knowing this, I'm sure, or at least those around him, I think they were pushing for that, because here we are, 250 years, 1/4 of a millennia, or a short season, you might say. I don't know. Good food for thought, though.
Go inside the Capitol dome and look up into the underside of the pregnant belly of ISIS. What do you see? The apotheosis of George Washington. Literally, apotheosis means to become a god. And what god is George Washington becoming? Walt Whitman, the famous American poet that is so connected to American history, said he's becoming the Osiris.
Freemasonry and the founding of America, there is a very important link between the two. Freemasons held a very important part in America's foundation. George Washington was a Mason in good standing. A number of the signers of the Declaration, your Articles of Confederation, a number of them were well-known Masons. A number of the generals in George Washington's army were also well-known Masons. America's founding is steeped in Masonic lore and Masonic history, but it's not just America's founding. That flavoring has flowed through America generation after generation after generation to the point where this country, the United States, has a Masonic saturation in its history, in the fabric of its culture.
When the Freemasons designed this majestic pagan city of DC, they intended it to be their revived ritualistic chessboard, with all pieces in place for their scheduled conjurings, with the ultimate goal of awakening the spirit of Osiris, Apollyon, to one day inhabit their final world king. They have carried out this famed ritual with the inauguration of every U.S. president, firmly believing that the prophecies of America will in fact come to pass in the fullness of time.
So the founding of America was clearly the beginning of the ancient prophecies being fulfilled. The great blessed continent of the Western Hemisphere to become the philosophical democracy that would lead the world as a beacon of light into the new order of the ages. In order for this philosophical empire to bloom, there had to be two main prerequisites met: a safe haven that legislated and protected the freedom of all religious practices, and a zenith of the secret teachings of the old world. And that's where secret societies entered the stage.
Secret societies have existed among all people, savage and civilized, since the beginning of recorded history. It is beyond question that the secret societies of all ages have exercised a considerable degree of political influence.
Among some of the most influential of the founding fathers, we find secret societies which have remained in the shadows over the years, wielding their power and authority in American politics, culture, and religion. It's always been the goal of the secret orders to keep and maintain the ancient occult teachings and rituals while influencing the politics, religion, and culture of their day. Historically, the secret societies have seemed to always control the zeitgeist, or the spirit of the time.
Secret societies are groups of individuals who share commonalities, goals, and visions of a united humanistic future of esoteric enlightenment. In other words, these groups are formed with a specific agenda of ecumenical unification of all faiths and creeds, with the common goal of global order. This once again projects the American doctrine, e pluribus unum, or out of many comes one, the land where all paths lead to God. We're told that we are one nation under God, but as we see, this is a nation of many faiths, and the God declared by the founders was clearly not the God of the Bible.
The God mentioned by the founders, and even referenced on our currency, is none other than the universal great architect entity, which high-level Freemasons reveal is actually Lucifer, the light bearer, the serpent god. This God accepts all faiths besides true biblical Christianity, and goes by many names across the cultures. This is another brick in the wall of understanding secret societies and how they are able to coexist as a large body, even having factions within.
The most notable secret societies that have influenced the occult New World system include the Freemasons, Traditional Rosicrucians, Hellfire Club, Skull and Bones, Ancient Mystical Order Rosicrucis, Ordo Templi Orientis, the Golden Dawn, and the Jesuits.
Don't forget about the People's Front of Judea. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. They got all these little clubs. They're just a bunch of role-playing freaks, man. Think about that. Bunch of role-playing freaks playing with Dungeons and Dragons, witchcraft and shit, man. It's fucking sick. God damn it. And people go, oh, America was founded by Christians. Shut the fuck up.
Being that America is the philosophical empire foretold by occultists of the ancient world, coupled with the fact that global decisions for order always have to be cleared via American politics and force, it is no surprise that politicians and corporate leaders from various secret societies, both foreign and domestic, all meet together for a blood sacrifice in a grove of biblical proportions every summer in California. Time would not allow for individual breakdown of every secret society in attendance. However, the common goals of these powerful groups are boldly plotted at this annual sacrificial gathering in the Redwood Forest. We're dealing with the United Nations of secret societies, if you will.
Bohemian Grove is where the walls come down between the societies, and the principalities emerge from the other side, as some of the most powerful world leaders devise the biggest moves and changes that will take place on the world scene.
Most people have heard about the Bohemian Grove, which is a yearly event that takes place in the redwoods of Northern California. What they don't know is that the Bohemian Grove is an adjunct to the Bohemian Club, which is in downtown San Francisco. Every year, they take this statue out of the Bohemian Club, a statue of St. John of Nepomuk from Czechoslovakia. Bohemia is in Czechoslovakia. They take this statue of St. John of Nepomuk, and every year they transport him from San Francisco to the Bohemian Grove up in Northern California.
St. John of Nepomuk is considered the patron saint of Bohemian Grove. And this particular statue of him that makes the pilgrimage every year depicts Nepomuk making the occult sign of silence, covering his mouth. Historically, Nepomuk suffered death for keeping the queen's confessional secrets. This level of commitment is a standard in secret societies. Death before disclosure of secrets. Being a member or a guest even at the Grove entails taking an oath of silence, and this is clearly portrayed in the statue of their patron saint.
The Bohemian Grove was a creation of members of the Bohemian Club that had hundreds of acres in the redwood forest of North.
They just wanted to go up there and get their gay on. See, they were tired of, all the city fags and shit. So they went up there to get their gay on in secret. See, that way they could still remain prominent and everybody not know that they were a Heine pirate. See, that's how that worked.
Northern California, and they would invite the greats and the near greats from across the world, all men, to these camps that were established there in the summer for several weeks. And they would meet together secretly, and they would brief one another about their government activities, the types of policies that were being worked from one government to another. We had former presidents that went there. And it's interesting, I know Colin Powell's emails after having gone to the Bohemian Grove were released by WikiLeaks. And he talked about this thing that they did on abandoning care. What it was, they had this giant owl that would be set up in the woods, and everybody would come and they would cast all their cares on this owl as a ritual of sorts. Now, you can dismiss that as silliness. These are grown men, most of them in their 50s, 60s, and so forth, but very influential people. And they did these sorts of things that have been fairly widely reported. And yet, I would argue that the decisions often made there, or the discussions made there, the camaraderie that was developed, would ultimately find its way into policy or financial decisions by governments and industry, because you had Hollywood magnates and you had the likes of the Googles of the world, and then, of course, all the way up to presidents and other countries. A bizarre secret society of sorts.
Bohemian Grove was astounding when I first heard about it. I never heard about it at all during the 80s or the first part of the 90s. So we have somebody that was coming to our offices seeking help, coming out of really, really dark satanic rituals and abuse and so forth. And one day they asked me, have you heard of Bohemian Grove? I said, no. They sat down and they wanted sheets of paper, big sheets of paper. They begin to draw cabins and occult symbols, trees. Then they drew this like little lake area and then a big owl. And they had people in hooded robes throwing a man into the fires that showed people sitting across. So they began to draw all these pictures. They actually handed me a necklace with an owl that they said they wore in the 60s when they were there. So as they explained it to me in the early 90s, it was a place where political, military, media, and wealthy elite people were brought. Massive sexual decadence, sexual ritual, sexual exploitation. Kids, girls, boys were used. Some of it for bribing. So Bohemian Grove came out later on with the Alex Jones video. As soon as I saw it, I went back to the paperwork, went back to the individual that first shared it with us. This is on the Russian River in California. It's been there for a long time. It's connected to Skull and Bones. It's connected to other darker oriented, we call it secret society, but Bohemian Grove is literally no different than a high place of the Old Testament. It is an encampment for an idol of an actual demonic presence. That's what every idol is a representation of the actual presence of a territorial or a particular demon god, small g, that would rule a tribe or a family or rule a nation even. And that would be the image. So we have the owl there. They do a number of preparatory rituals, which is true among left-hand pathers. That this whole ritual leading up to this, it's one of many that is done, but before they can ever do it, and they never do it without inviting, somehow they bring in the world elite. So we all know the stories now, even from the Bohemian Grove Club in San Francisco, the names that have been put out, the lists that have been out, many, many other pictures are out now, old black and white pictures are out. It's been there a long time.
It's a place where you can come as Democrat or Republican. You can come as a financier. You can come as the CEO of major corporations and major companies. It's a place for networking. It's a place where you can come and without the camera of the media on you, can discuss policy. And really what it boils down to is relationship building.
But it's also a violation of the Logan Act. Okay, so that's no bueno. That is definitely no bueno. What in the fuck is going on with this goddamn microphone, man? Keeps wanting to spin and it's not supposed to. I don't know. I gotta fix it. I gotta fix the goddamn thing. Anyway, none of this that's really for politicians and world leaders and such to meet in collusion is illegal. You see, and I feel that this is a violation of the Logan Act, but what the fuck? They don't follow the law anyways. The law is not for them. That's just for us. See, they got a few rules up there that people can quote and say, yeah, you're not supposed to do that, but they're just going to fucking do it anyways. It's the house always wins. You see, what we got to do is overturn the tables and say, you know what? Fuck you. They're not even legitimate anymore. Let's get real about it. Damn near every fucking member of our legislature have engaged in an act of treason, aligning our military with Israel, even trying to do that, even if it weren't successful, even trying to do that would be a treasonous act. We got a Supreme Court that works based on political opinion rather than law. We've got an executive branch that's just fucking cuckoo puffs. And this government is no longer legitimate. Stop fucking listening to it. Stop obeying it. It's that simple, man. I think that this is the end of it right here. Might as well get on off the fucking boat before you get sucked down with it. You know what I'm saying? Anyway.
Relationship building across all lines. It's that rubbing shoulders. It's that coming together. It's that place where they inspire one another and move agendas and ideas forward without the prying eyes of media, without the prying eyes of the public.
One of the most damning indictments of the realities of this Luciferian gathering, made up of all secret societies and political parties, celebrities, and global leaders would be the David Gergen Street interview. Gergen was the presidential advisor to Nixon, Ford, Reagan, and Clinton, and a longtime member of the Grove. This literally validates not only the existence of the Grove and the rituals, but also depicts the code of secrecy taken by its members.
I read a Washington Times article many years ago where you had a comment about the organization, and then now it's been in the Wall Street Journal, it's been in a lot of different newspapers, and that's the Bohemian Grove. And back in, 1996, when you joined as a Clinton advisor, the Republicans were criticizing you, oh, what about Bohemian Grove? And then you countered them by saying, hey, I don't run around in the woods naked. What did that mean? Here is the before mentioned Washington Times article where he said, I didn't run around naked like they do.
I don't know what quote you're referring to. I'm not aware of any quote like that. Listen, I am a happy member of the Bohemian Grove. I like the folks who come there, and it's really inappropriate for me to talk about the group beyond that. Thank you.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about.
Bohemia, we thank thee for thy adoration.
Have you been there for the ceremony with the cremation of care?
Frankly, I don't think that's something I need to talk to you about.
Really?
That's right.
Well, I'm Alex Jones, and I snuck in there in 2000. I'm the guy that blew it wide open and got the video. It's been on national TV.
Well, I disrespect you for that.
You do?
I do.
But it's a lot of big public officials going in there. Don't we deserve to know?
I don't know anything about you, and I don't know anything about your film. But if you go in there with an understanding, you violated that understanding by releasing that film, and I don't respect you for that.
Really? Oh, we have public officials.
I'm sorry. You took an understanding when you went in there that you would not do that film. And did you have an understanding when you went in there?
No.
Did you crash it?
Yes.
Yeah, and it has no trespassing signs there too, doesn't it?
No, they put them up after.
Oh, I'm
I just
sorry.
walked in.
I'm sorry, sir. I've been there before. I know what the circumstances are, and I'm sorry you violated the understandings. That was not a gentlemanly thing to do.
But what about the ritual? Is the ritual genuinely?
Sir, everything I don't owe you this comment.
I know.
This is what's called ambush journalism, and I disrespect you for that as well. So thank you
ever
and goodbye.
been in the ritual?
Let's leave your damn business.
Oh.
Right. Listen. You go around and make understandings with people and violate them. You ambush people on the streets, and that's inappropriate form of journalism. If you wish to practice that, that's fine, but don't ask others to respect you for it. If you want to, you can do. You're free American, like anything you want. If you want to be uncivil and rude and ungentlemanly, that's up to you. But don't expect the rest of us to say, "Oh well, you're
there, Mr. Gergen."
I'm sorry, nobody sets policy in there. We try to be gentlemen, and obviously, you don't belong there.
Weaving spiders coming out here.
The biggest issue is the ritual itself. People see the ritual, they hear the stuff. It's almost like a massive drama that's going on. It looks like a big dramatic thing when you hear the voice of the speaker, the person behind speaking about the cremation of care and be gone, and he screams all these things out. And then the audience of presidents and senators and the world's elite all begin to clap. First, we have to ask, who has the clout to bring world leaders, presidents, kings of the earth, media moguls, military generals? Who has the power to bring those people together in one location? Why would anybody, any human being, even if it was just a fake mock human sacrifice, who would go to that? So even if it was mock, even if it was fake, why would world leaders, powerful people, go there and applaud at the end if it was fake? Here's what I believe without question about Bohemian Grove. Some are there because they've been invited to be influenced. They're unwitting to what's going on. Many, if not most, are witting to what's going on. They know what's happening. When we found out the reasons for the ritual at Bohemian Grove, the human sacrifice that would go on, it's not Moloch, but it goes back to Sumer, more likely to Semiramis and the most ancient of the ancient gods, small g, and the ritual of a human to be offered so that In a ritual, as I said earlier, when a ritual is done, it's done as inspired by that side to open a doorway, to cause a release, to grant the door, to open the door so they can come through. So the most important thing is not only who gets them to come, who designs this to be done, and what's the real reason? The real reason is similar to Revelation 16. When out of the mouth of the false prophet, the beast, the Antichrist, and the dragon, come spirits sent to the kings of the earth to supernaturally gather them, to move them. You have a massively global scale, powerful ritual being done so that when that human being is thrown, and probably alive, maybe drugged, but probably alive, thrown into the fires, burned alive, then the demons that have been right at the doorway, all of a sudden the doorway, the curtains come down, and that presence by target goes to the audience there. So in the real Luciferians, the reason they're doing this, summoning spirits, sending it on to the audience, world leaders, for influence, for inspiration, for preparation, to move them in one direction. It is an astounding ritual. How could it be happening on U.S. soil? It's a global class ritual. It's a powerful high place sitting on U.S. soil.
Bohemian Grove is a high holy place for the shadow government and has been since its infancy. The occultist movers and shakers of the world have long found demonically charged power and comfort in the blood rituals amidst this brotherhood of brotherhoods. What was once considered a conspiracy theory, this shadow government, has now broken out into the mainstream under a different name, possibly to soften the blow of its exposure. This long-standing cabal of decision makers and policy setters, the hand behind the false flag terror attacks and sponsor of international terrorist groups, the shadow government is now known as the Deep State.
There exists in the world today, and has existed for thousands of years, a body of enlightened humans united in what might be termed an order of the quest. It is composed of those whose intellectual and spiritual perceptions have revealed to them that civilization has a secret destiny. The outcome of this secret destiny is a world order ruled by a king with supernatural powers. This king was descended of a divine race, that is, he belonged to the order of the illumined. But those who come to a state of wisdom then belong to a family of heroes, perfected human beings.
The Deep State is the political means to advance the agenda of secret societies. It's the hand that rocks the cradle, per se. It's the arm that gets things done. Controlling the narrative, both politically and culturally, the Deep State is the puppet master, regardless of the perceived party dominance. It enacts policies, it funds terror, creates social uprising, and even tailors the mainstream media, all with the goal of advancing the nations towards the one world system. Literally speaking, they are constructing the beast system.
It's really a clandestine type of network of people that are undercutting government. It really dates back to Mustafa Ataturk, the Turkish leader of 1923, when he used clandestine operations within government to preserve his own government. And more recently, of course, in this country, starting really during the election of 2016 for Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, we began to see evidence of what we've seen overseas in Turkey and other countries, and that is specifically a shadow government. But ultimately, I really see three levels. The first level of the deeper state is the political class, those people that we send to Washington for the U.S. Senate, the U.S. House of Representatives. And then, of course, you have the people that work for the federal government, for the president and his administration, the bureaucracy. If you listen to the likes of Bernie Sanders, the independent that ran for president, if you listen to Ted Cruz, the senator from Texas, or you listen to former President Jimmy Carter, they call it an oligarchy. In other words, only a handful of people truly run the government. that truly run the political establishment in Washington. And they operate based upon who's the biggest donor to their particular interests. So they refer to it as an oligarchy, a government of a few. Now, when you look at the bureaucracy, the people that are working for these political people in the first level, the bureaucracy is representative of, in some cases, people that truly try to run things from behind the scenes.
Many people are finally waking up to the existence of the deep state after years of calling it a conspiracy theory. But what most people don't realize is that this deep state, this shadow American government, goes all the way back to the very first president, George Washington, and the founding fathers.
If you go back to the very beginning of our country, the founders, there were 55 of those that attended the Constitutional Convention. The windows were locked, by the way, at the time when they were writing our Declaration and then our Constitution. Why? They didn't want the average citizen to listen in on the proceedings. It's because they were the elite of the time. They were an oligarchy, people that were unelected, people that were wealthy, mostly lawyers that were really going to put together a government that, was going to give us some liberty from the British and so forth, but a government that ultimately was very similar to what we found and left behind in Great Britain. It was bicameral, in other words, a Senate that was really like the House of Lords. Initially, it wasn't going to be voted down by the people. House of Representatives was really like the House of Commons, and it was organized accordingly. As you go through the litany of things that they put together, it was truly an oligarchy, though it gave us some liberty. It wasn't until Andrew Jackson was president and he formed the political parties that ultimately put together our current system that we found that the people began to have a voice. And I think that's critical to understand and appreciate, that the deep state was beginning to recede and the people were having influence over the direction of government. So you have that level. Then you have the people that are behind the scenes, what I call the second layer. Second layer are the influencers, the deep-pocketed wealthy people, the George Soroses of the world that donate $12 billion to.
You're muted, Todd.
Look at that demonic fucking face on this character.
Is that a ball sack face?
That's George Soros.
Yeah, no.
I mean, just look at him. You see these people, they look fucking diseased. If you really look at them, they look diseased. And in a way they are. And, you see this, like, you remember when Palpatine was just like a senator in the Senate in that one Star Wars? He just kind of looked like a regular old dude, right?
Mm-hmm.
By the time he became the emperor, man, he was a fucking gnarled up, nasty, mean looking son of a bitch, Yeah. And that really does start happening to those people. Look at George Bush Sr. as he got older. When he was old, he looked like he about ready to fucking bite you or something, like he had rabies.
Look at all the presidents by the end of their presidency. It ages them by who knows how long.
Bill Clinton.
They know all the bad deeds they've done. But anyway, go ahead.
Bill Clinton looks like he should be in a Thriller video, If that fucker could dance, they could do a remake. I guarantee you, that poor son of a bitch. But I have to figure, man, if you had to be married to Hillary all that time like that, Jesus Christ, man, you might advocate for getting your dick cut off after that. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think they were? That just seems like an arranged thing between Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton.
Huh? It was. He stems from the Dixie Mafia, Hot Springs, Arkansas. She stems from the Chicago Mafia. She's a little mafia princess, and so that's where that comes from. And it's kind of like when they used to marry the Prince of Portugal to the Princess of Spain, and it brought the two ruling houses together and that kind of shit. They're still doing that. Right. They're still doing that.
Yep.
Which is sick inbreeding.
What's going down, Brown?
What's going on, D man?
My back's giving me trouble. I was listening for a little while laying down.
Some interesting shit. Now, there's a thing too about the I don't know if they went over that yet or not. I saw it on the little breakdown of this that I watched earlier, and there's a Washington monument in the ground, underground, in front of the regular Washington monument. There's another obelisk. It's 12 feet long and it's buried underground. And there's a little manhole cover that they have where they took it off and looked in there, and they're sure as fuck it, there it is. It's like, what in the world is going on with this? Well, it's supposedly the 12 is representative of a mockery of the 12 disciples of Christ. I don't know. I do. I think that this thing was I think 1776 was the fucking loosening of Satan. And we're now at the end of that season, man. I was just thinking, just logically, I mean, this makes sense to me that like a millennium is how they're measuring things. And so break it into 4 seasons. One season is 250 years. And here the fuck we are. The 250 years. I mean, the clues are there. The Statue of Liberty with the chain broken on the leg. Come on. Holding the torch, right? The light bearer, Lucifer. I mean, it's all right there. It's all right there. So I don't know. We'll see. What the fuck? It's not anything we can actually prove or disprove, but we can apply logic to what we know and come up with some interesting theories regarding it. But in the end, will we really ever know? Yeah, maybe after we're done with this little meat puppet show that we're in, we might know. Then again, maybe not. Might be a fucking soul trap. You might, go to the light. And so you head to that fucking light, baby. And all it is you being born again. And that's why you cry. You're like, oh, fuck this again. Jesus Christ, man.
I gotta do it again. Are you serious?
And then you get the memory wipe. Whoa.
Yeah. Not again.
Oh shit.
Oh, you mean I gotta deal with Dylan Mulvaney another time? Oh my god. You mean more Brenda? No.
Oh, come on, man. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Go back, Jack. Do it again.
I didn't see any light, man. You know, if you've ever knocked yourself out, it's there's no light. I see nothing. But I did hear experiences from other people who said that they thought they were, some people said they were in heaven with God. Some people said Satan was kicking them. Some people said there was worms crawling all over them. I mean, I've heard stories.
God damn.
So,
well,
I mean, I guess
one way to know.
I guess it's up to whatever whatever your mind does.
One thing's for sure, we're all gonna find out one day.
Eventually, yeah.
I love it when George Collins says the Earth's not going anywhere. We are. We're going away.
Yeah.
I love that.
God damn it,
going
man.
away, folks. Going away.
What's this? No, I require a minimum 1 millennium rest at the age of
Aaron.
Non-government organizations that indeed influence our political class and our federal bureaucracy. Clearly, you have lobbyists, and there are thousands of them in Washington. You have non-government organizations that are so-called think tanks that produce papers, and academia that produce papers that are used to influence politicians and the bureaucracies on the policies that they want. Are they really reflecting the will of the American people? In many cases, I'd argue no, they aren't. You have secret societies. Now, I know that a lot of people don't quite understand and appreciate these groups. The Bilderberger group, of course, they're an influence of great proportions. They, in 1991, recruited Bill Clinton, a lonely governor from the obscure state of Arkansas, raised him up, gave him a lot of money, and gave him a message. And that message was about trade. It was NAFTA. And he sold NAFTA as his agenda. And of course, he sold a lot of other bad ideas as well. The Bilderbergers also raised up Barack Obama, gave him money, gave him media attention, and eventually the nomination from virtually nowhere. And of course, he ruled with a very progressive agenda, which is what most of these globalists, most of these progressives have in mind at the second level, second layer. And then, of course, you have foreign governments that are part of the second layer of the deeper state. The Saudis have spent hundreds of millions of dollars lobbying Washington for its own political purposes. There are many, many others that are involved in this political influence class that, is involved with Washington.
Before we get into what empowers the deep state or the final level, we have to understand that their agenda is globalism. Globalism is described clearly in Daniel chapter 7 and Revelation 13 as the world system of which the Antichrist will take the reins. We're dealing with the indisputable objective of the secret societies, which further explains why the deep state is run by these very secret societies. Their aim is to build a Luciferian world kingdom, and they use democracy to spread their ideology upon the world stage.
The World Federalist Association is the longest running pro-world government lobby group in the United States. It didn't start out under that name. Back in the 1940s and 1950s, it started out as the United World Federalists. Today, it goes under a different name, Citizens for Global Solutions. But all throughout its history, the World Federalist Association and its international umbrella group, the World Federalist Movement, have been working towards the idea of a global government, a world government, a new world order. That is the language that comes through. Back in the year 2000, I attended the United Nations Millennium Forum. I went as an independent accredited expert. However, because I was a member of the World Federalist Association at that time, I'd attended a number of meetings, a number of their events, and had been given a membership by the organization. I quickly discovered when I was at the United Nations Millennium Forum that we were running the show, that the World Federalist Movement was running the United Nations event that I was attending. I was part of Subgroup 6. Subgroup 6 was about restructuring world order. And so for the course of the week, we had panels and workshops and lectures and sessions, planning sessions on things like creating a global taxation regime, developing an international military and police force, setting up a global parliamentary assembly. This is a very big idea. Because what we were doing was we were discussing the framework, the skeletal framework for literally a form of world government. What is a world government? A world judicial system, a world where we develop international law, a world military and police presence, a world executive. George Bush Sr. called it a new world order. That language, he used that language all the time. In fact, he was really well known for that phraseology. A lot of people even thought he was the one that brought up the term, that he somehow invented it. No, he was using an old phrase. Ronald Reagan talked about a new world order. Jimmy Carter talked about a new world order. FDR talked about a new world order. Back in the 1940s, the birth of various World Federalist organizations, including the United World Federalists, even churches were talking about world order. There were church crusades on world order. The Baptists were having crusades on world order. The Methodists were. They were doing letter writing campaigns to America's politicians saying, as you guys work through the idea of a United Nations, this is in the mid-1940s, the later part of World War II, you need to develop this as an authoritative, effective, empowered international authority. And in fact, you can go back even earlier than that. You can go to World War I. Nicholas Murray Butler, the president of Columbia University, a man who could walk into the office of kings and prime ministers and presidents. He was Mr. International during World War I. He openly talked about a new world order. In fact, he described World War I as a destruction of the old order and a war for the new order.
That's very interesting because that's what we describe it as too. A destruction of the old order, the old world.
Yeah.
A removal of the principalities, a removal of the monarchies, leaving only 2. You see how this worked? And it's still going. And here the United States is leading this evil fucking shit. You understand? What they were talking about at the UN. Here we have the entire fucking UN saying that Israel needs some fucking shit put on them because of the fact that they're committing war crimes. But the US, with the deciding vote for some reason, votes against it. What the fuck?
Trump was talking about getting rid of the International Criminal Courts because they deemed what's his name a war criminal.
Yeah, you don't get to do that. Who the fuck are you? That's what I'm like. Wait a second. You do understand that there's a limit to the scope of your power, right? You don't just get to go beat up on people because they don't do what you tell them to do. Okay. You're not the president of Iran. You're not the fucking owner of the world court. None of that. You're not any of those things. You're president of the United States. Here's a map. Let me show you where that's at. Okay. And no, Hawaii and Alaska are not right next to each other because they're in that little circle. Okay. They're not really learn things. God damn it. So some people were saying, why does, God allow this and not intervene? We are the good people. We are the people that are the good, the forces of good. Many of you haven't realized it yet. But those that will stand by idly as evil happens, allow evil to prevail. This is why you got to fucking speak up. You see a cop's beating the fuck out of somebody for no reason, pull out your goddamn camera and film them. Don't be intimidated by them. They're just people in costumes. Okay? You have to do what you have to do. And you can't, anybody that would know what's right but do the other, that's just fucked up, right? That's like these order followers, like these police and shit. They don't care if it's right or wrong. If they're ordered to do it, they will do it. And I don't care how friendly you think Officer Joe is. Officer Joe will shoot you for something as trivial as a fucking sticker. Okay? Keep this in mind. They are not your friend. The government is not here to help you. They are here to fuck you. And it is nothing like what you think it is. This world doesn't even work the way people think it does. It's not. It's a big fucking corporation, man. And you got to understand that. Reclaim your sovereignty, man. Reclaim your sovereignty. Fuck these people.
And what he described was the emergence of a world authority with an international judicial system, an international police presence, and world law. This really is the ultimate idea, the ultimate goal of the oneness of man, the oneness of the world. The phrase the New World Order doesn't end there. You can go beyond that, back all the way to 1873 with the founder of the Baha'i faith talking about the necessity of a new world order. And that new world order would have a world judicial system. It would even have a world city, a world headquarters. It would truly be one world. This big idea, this dream, has pulsed and beat within the heart of American elites for at least a number of generations. It goes back a long ways.
Globalism is about, to most people, it's about instant communication worldwide. It's about open markets around the world, open borders in many cases. But it's more nefarious than that. To me, it's about a religion of humanism, a religion that wants to reduce the Earth's population from the current 8 billion to 500 million, thanks to the likes of globalist Ted Turner. They believe that they're genetically predisposed to be the elite of the world and that they're going to run things. They trace themselves back to, of course, Friedrich Hegel, who was a 19th century German philosopher who believed in the zeitgeist, the spirit of the time. And they believed in over time that man's going to become perfect eventually. And as a result, they're going to be in charge of this perfect world. And it's, of course, going to be a one world government run by them with far fewer of us than there are today. So the globalists are pretty heinous.
Okay, so I'm looking at the playback on YouTube, and the stream is really fucking piss poor. Have y'all noticed that?
Yeah, it's a
Y'all
little
notice
bit.
that? Well,
It's
it's
a little
jumping
bit.
all over the fucking place. It's just jerky as hell, man. What the fuck?
Probably has to do with Rumble and because you're on StreamYard.
Well, it shouldn't. I've never had that problem before. They're fucking with my stream because I'm looking
Your
over.
video's a little choppy too when you
Yeah,
move around.
yeah. You know what I'm going to do here just for a minute?
A reset, come back.
Yeah, you and Cubby go ahead and take care of the kids for a minute.
Yeah,
I'll
no
be
problem.
right back. Let me make a mark of where I'm
All right,
at.
everybody ready
1
to sing a
hour.
song?
Yeah, I'm at 1 hour. I'm going to restart the fucking system and see if I can't get it working better because this is gay as hell. What the fuck is that? I just saw something else that was like blocking up the whole goddamn screen. Now it's gone. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and restart my computer. I'll be right back. Y'all take an intermission. We'll be right back.
Well, Saw blocked up. Yeah. All right, he'll be back. Oh man, I don't think Cubby's here either. It's just me. Well, yeah. Let's do it this way then. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. We'll get a. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, I think Cubby's AFK. There you go. Yeah, with the old Doctor Who shows. Oh, well, I mean the ones from the channel that I subscribe to, they're doing cartoon ones now. They're redoing the Doctor Who's in like a cartoon format, which I thought was kind of cool. So they're taking the originals and then just turning them into like a cartoon kind of thing. Some of them. Oh, Saw's back. What's up, Saw?
All right. I think
Something happened.
Oh no, I just restarted my computer. And guess what it was? It came back when I opened it back up. Come up and said it was a fucking goddamn Microsoft fucking update.
Yeah, that's why. So it's running in the
Start
background.
fucking with your shit so you'll restart the computer. Goddamn thing. I
You're
swear
still
to
kind of
God.
glitchy.
Am I really? This is
Yeah.
fucking stupid.
It's all right.
I'm gonna do something here in just a minute.
Just shut your video off.
I ran to the
and
bathroom and then I came back and you're
just
gone.
Yeah.
just shut your video off so that way it takes less resources and just run your normal.
It's retarded. I don't know what the fuck. What's eating up all my goddamn memory?
It's because it's using processes to run the update in the background. That's why.
Well, the update's done now. So it should be fucking good, right? Maybe it just fucked up my system even worse. I don't know.
You're welcome.
That's usually what their goddamn shit does. I swear to God.
I got off of it a while ago, like almost two. Well, it's coming up on 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was like, I'm done. I ain't doing Windows anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay,
oh,
sorry.
cool. Now that wants me to update too. Another fucking thing. Jesus, goddamn Christ!
Always
man, right?
during the show, not
Yeah,
after or
yeah.
in between, right?
And the thing about well, Windows 8 8.1
His backstage wants to come up on front on the stage. You're gonna have to turn on your camera backstage one time for me. And okay, there we go. Just want to make sure. Don't want none of them weirdos coming in here.
Sorry, I was eating.
You
Dave.
are one of them. You are one of them
You always
weirdos.
see me. What?
Always freaking eating. The hell?
Dave, I've been showing up and leaving in a time frame that's respectable for years, sir.
It don't make you any less of a weirdo, though.
This is true.
You gotta
Maybe it's not
understand
going to be
it.
normal these days.
Once you come to terms with it, like I did, it's liberating. I fully accept that I am a strange fucking dude, man. I really am. I'm not. I've always have been. You know, I've never been like normal, like what people considered normal. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it's like that. It's like that. I don't know what meme or painting that originates from, but you know, like the herd running off the cliff because the sheep herder's whipping them.
Yeah,
There's
Dave's
that
getting an
one
echo.
black sheep going the opposite direction.
Dave,
It's like
do you have?
we all have to face that as human beings, you know.
Dave,
I
do
just
you
wanted
have?
to go ahead, Demon.
Do you have the YouTube window open? Close it so that way.
No,
it doesn't
nothing's
echo.
open on my end. Let me see if my
Yeah, echo cancellation.
is it better now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think it was the echo cancellation. Sorry about that, gentlemen. I was just gonna say, Dave, I think a lot of these issues we're dealing with now are due to these new data centers they're bringing up.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't fix it. But I'm sure you guys could elaborate while I try to fix this. The data centers, all this fucking energy and water being taken up for these AI data centers.
Yeah.
Well, not just
Everybody's
that.
like-
I've noticed the fucking internet slowed down.
Yeah,
You know,
everybody's,
remember we got 5G and all that shit now? 6G. Remember they said, yeah, you can download
10G.
50 million fucking movies in a half a second and all this other goddamn shit, and there ain't no such thing. It just got worse. They just tell you shit to keep you shut up until it's in there and go, oh, well, it's just like that now, so fuck off.
Yeah.
You know?
Like everything else, it gets more expensive and bogged down with more ads. You get
Kinda
less
like-
and less for what you pay for. That's the standard of living these days, no matter what it is across the board.
All right, I think we're all done with all the little updates and everything else. I think that
Did
we're
it
back
ask you to restart?
No, it does that. It start glitching out on you and shit, and then your computer fuck up, and then you have to restart. You know, you go, well, I'll try to reboot it. They didn't ask me, hey, we're gonna do an update. Do you want that? You know, no, I don't want it.
Yeah, at least you know how to fix a flat tire and fucking make a fire. Is it gone?
No.
God damn it, dude! Fuck my mother. I'm
What,
sorry.
the
my
echo?
mother's a person.
Yeah, the echo's still there. It's not Yusuf.
He's probably getting it from his mic because he's got speakers.
Oh, maybe it is you because no, I don't know.
Am I still glitching?
Yeah,
God damn it, man! What the fuck?
unless it's just on my end. Is it on yours? Can you see it?
Well, I'm
Yeah.
watching it over here on the playback.
Okay.
I'm watching the playback over here, and it's still doing it. And I don't have fucking nothing open, man. I don't have hardly nothing open. Let me see if there's something I can do here.
Might do a refresh or something.
Yeah, I've closed the tab and opened it. Is it gone?
So far.
So
far. Thank God. Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys, why do you guys think they put them out in the deserts? Like, why not in these fucking, water surrounded states, like, ocean shore states? Like, why in the desert? What's that about? Where we need water for those civilians?
The data centers?
They're all over the country.
Yeah,
They're
they're kind
everywhere.
of. I've seen them everywhere, really. I don't think they discriminate where they're putting them. I could be wrong, but I don't know. It seems
We
like
had
they're
a
just
map of like a few shows ago of where they all were.
No, you're doing. I wonder if it's on Sav's end.
Oh, there's one to get rid of. How do I stop that? That goddamn thing keeps trying to come up telling me it's trying to connect to some shit.
Tuesday night troubles.
Fucking bullshit, man. Am I still glitchy?
You're not glitchy anymore at the moment.
Wait a second.
Now you're. I don't know.
Yeah.
It works for a minute, then it doesn't.
What the fuck is going on here? You know, I wonder if my VPN is doing it. I'm gonna shut that off.
I don't even use a VPN for this.
I'm gonna.
I don't even use a VPN for this. I use it for other things like TV and stuff, but
Windows used to give you the option to shut the updates off or set them only at a certain time. But since Windows 10, they've completely eliminated that. So when they dump updates, you don't have a choice of saying you don't want to get them. There's no option. You have to get them. I mean, you can go in and manually make it so that it doesn't do it, but it's going to screw around with other stuff. They have programs called WinHance. WinHance is one of the ones that you can run where it strips Windows down to its just base software with no apps.
Really?
Yeah. It takes all the bloat out of a lot of OS installs.
Well, it looks like it might be actually that might have helped it doing that.
Yeah, you look good now.
So far, I don't.
Not B-Man's got the echo though.
Will do.
Yeah.
It's not me. Hold on.
No, I don't hear one.
Hang on, let him talk. I'll mute.
All right, hello, 1, 2, 3.
No.
So I can hear it.
Look at chat.
Yeah, I can hear it. But
okay, well, let's see. We got our. It looks like we might have solved the problem by shutting down the VPN.
I'm not echoing. I can hear myself echoing.
I can't hear it.
All right, let me go out and come back.
They're gonna make us all do it. Now he'll get an update or something.
Yeah, my turn's next.
Yeah. Well, I'll wait a minute before I put this back on. Because that fucking glitchy shit, I can't stand that, man. And there should be no fucking reason for it whatsoever. I have noticed though that my router has moved and it's a little closer to the wall and shit. That might be not helping things either. So when I get this playing, we'll see how it goes, and then I'm gonna go over and move that fucking thing. So let me see how it plays on here.
It honestly shouldn't, but who knows?
I just think it's like we're at a point where the information. This is hopeless. I'm going back to the chat.
Going back to the what?
The chat. I got to go back to the chat tonight, Dave. My technology is fucking me.
Yeah, mine isn't doing the fucking shit that I want it to do either. It's just pissing me off really bad.
Oh. See, I can hear echo.
I don't hear any.
So I don't know.
That's crazy, man. Somebody fucking with us. It's got to be. It's got to be. But I'm gonna move that. I meant to move it away from the wall anyway.
I have nothing running in the background. I have nothing on. So
Is it too much trouble to start the whole thing over again? Is that a big?
What, the whole show?
Yeah. Is that a big pain in the ass?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay. All right.
Kinda.
I was just curious.
We'll try it. If that's a last resort, then we'll do it.
All right.
I'm gonna watch on here and see if this glitches any. Let's see.
Develop this as an authoritative, effective,
It's soft.
empowered
Yeah, it's
international
echoing.
authority. And in fact, you can go back even earlier than that. You can go to World War I. Nicholas Murray Butler, the president of Columbia University, a man who could walk into the office of kings and prime ministers.
All right, let me do something here. I'm gonna remove that right from it.
It was. He would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids.
This is just irritating as shit, man.
And president. He was Mr. International during World War I. He openly talked about a new world order. In fact, he described World War I as a destruction of the old order and a war for the new order. And what he described was the emergence of a world authority with an international judicial system, an international police presence, and world law. This really is the ultimate idea, the ultimate goal of the oneness of man, the oneness of the world. The phrase the New World Order doesn't end there. You can go beyond that, back all the way to 1873 with the founder of the Baha'i faith talking about the necessity of a new world order. And that new world order would have a world judicial system. It would even have a world city, a world headquarters. It would truly be one world. This big idea, this dream, has pulsed and beat within the heart of American elites for at least a number of generations. It goes back a long ways.
Globalism is about, to most people, it's about instant communication worldwide. It's about open markets around the world, open borders in many cases. But it's more nefarious than that. To me, it's about a religion of humanism, a religion that wants to reduce the Earth's population from the current 8 billion to 500 million, thanks to the likes of globalist Ted Turner. They believe that they're genetically predisposed to be the elite of the world and that they are going to run things. They trace themselves back to, of course, Friedrich Hegel, who is a 19th century German philosopher who believed in the zeitgeist, the spirit of the time. And they believed in, over time, that man's going to become perfect eventually. And as a result, they're going to be in charge of this perfect world. And it's, of course, going to be a one world government run by them with far fewer of us than there are today. So the globalists are a pretty heinous group of people, and their ideology is typified by occultism, Luciferianism, and of course, moral relativism. And so when I talk about the globalists, whoever they may be, the Kissingers, the David Rockefellers, the Hillarys, and so forth, I think psychopathic Luciferians, and that's their general ideology.
This is an idea that's been in circulation for a long time, and it goes into some pretty interesting areas. In 1951, the World Federalists met with Pope Pius XII, and in his speech to the World Federalists, talked to them in glowing terms that this was really a noble idea, that this was the direction that the world was going, that your program, gentlemen, is a necessary program. This is needed. The Pope's address in 1965 to the United Nations was also about the necessity of a world authority, and how what we really need is the world to come together through the United Nations to have a final world authority. The idea of a world authority is really intriguing. When I was at the United Nations Millennium Forum, one of the documents that was in circulation was Transformation of the World. It was put together by the head of the World Assembly of Turkic Peoples. He suggested a world king, a type of authority figure, somebody who could pull the nations together into one. We need some kind of world coordinator. Small doubt that the world does need a civilized coordinator in international relations and in settling global problems. More than that, this coordinator must be a stabilizing factor, actually, the last-ditch authority on the earth. He must win confidence of each man and each nation. People must be stark sure that this coordinator would solve any problem in a just and humane way, and one should be sure that in him he would find understanding and sympathy, that he would treat any nation as his own son, and that he is indeed the last resort. And the man should convince his terrestrial brothers therein by his practical deeds. ... Can the world community do without a coordinator? Definitely not.
This idea of uniting the world under one king, it's an ancient idea. The first to attempt this was Nimrod at Babel. They had a one-world religious system, government, language, and of course a king. This system was a foreshadowing of the coming Antichrist system and was even fueled by the entities of their esoteric religion. These are believed to be the very religious practices that comprise what we call today the Babylonian mystery schools, which are the religious beliefs and practices behind the various secret societies that drive the deep state. So it's really no surprise to see the same demonic entities that had fueled Nimrod's kingdom and motivated his actions alive and active today, fueling the deep state. The third level of the deep state is the unseen realm, or the spirit realm.
The third layer is what I call the unseen realm. This is the spiritual dimension. And of course, there are demonic players. There are spiritual activities that take place at the center of the universe, which I really believe happens to be in Washington, where the power is really focused, where money and great power is exercised. Inevitably, there's going to be a spiritual war, Ephesians 6 being the example, where powers and principalities are very much in play. And so the third layer, the unseen realm, is constantly influencing the second layer, the influencers, and the first layer, the political class and the bureaucracy.
In the deep state that I see right now, take one more step down, one more step down. In that next step down, you have the real operating deep state. There is no end to history without the supranatural side. There is no real alteration of the political world and a new world order and that kind. There is no new world order unless it's supernaturally based. 2,600 years ago, God said that there's a fourth kingdom. That's the deepest deep state you can get to. God already gave insight to that system being built and coming. It's very defined in Revelation 13 also. It's political, it's military, it's economic, and very clearly it's technological. If we're that close, Revelation 13, the biblical Greek word is anabano, they will rise as if, I don't know, we're the 10 kings. And so we've been given great insight to an agenda. It's like God ripped open Hell's Kitchen, saw the blueprints, and said, hey, here's some of the sequence of satanic evolution.
So it's the unseen realm where the real plots are devised. The spirit realm is a supernatural place that exists outside of our four dimensions. This is the place where entities live, devils and demons. We're dealing with principalities, spiritual wickedness in high places. This is the realm that the deep state conspirators are tapping into. Their ideology is steeped in occultism, and their power is attained through performing rituals. Rituals are the heart and soul of the cabals of the world. Rituals are the keys that open the doors to the spirit realm.
Magic is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will.
The role of ritual is essential because what ritual does is ritual connects the individual to the ancient concepts of continuity, that man, nature, and God are ultimately all one. Ritual is that experience, that mystical experience of continuity. You are stepping outside of time. You are stepping outside of a linear mindset. And you are now entering into an era of where everything is cyclical, everything is interdependent, everything is intertwined. And you are now acting in that spirit realm, that sense of continuity, where nature, God, and man are declared to be one. And you are enacting that. You are engaged in a type of spiritual theater, is a form of spiritual contract. And you are now a participant, a direct participant in that system and cycle of continuity, where all are connected to the all.
Where do the rituals come from? Just like we have biblical revelation, what God has done through all the Old Testament, New Testament, we have God initiating all of that. How to contact him, how to call on him, how to worship him. So in all real rituals, they're inspired by the other side. There is no ritual that just a human came up with. It's inspired by the spirits to give designation, to give it's like giving a phone number. This is how you call us. This circle, this language, these symbols, this sigil, this is what you do to summon us. And if you do what we do, and we give you the keys or the phone number to our side, if you do everything correct, and if you do everything right, we'll show up. So it begins with them. There's no ritual in any book that I've ever seen or read that wasn't inspired from the other side first.
You know, the thing about this is it sounds really bizarre, and they do it. They do this. They do these rituals. They do these spells, if you want to call them that, whatever. Whether or not you believe it, this is the reality of it. They do, and it must be doing something, or they wouldn't be where they are, and we're at where we're at. So what's the actual fucking secret behind this? What's that, you know? That would indicate that there is something to it, unless it's just involved in a form of nepotism to only collude and associate themselves and bring in others that are like-minded that way.
Bingo.
You know? So those are the only two conclusions you can get from it. But hell, they could have that, but without the weird, what you would consider rituals and dress up and ceremonies and whatnot, you know? It's almost akin to monkeys role playing or something. And but I don't know. I mean, there is obviously something to it. And to keep us to a point where there's so few of them as in comparison to us, to keep us under a spell, subdued by this, where they continue and continue and continue, even in the face of exposure, they continue. So what is this fucking spell they've got everybody under? That's what you should be asking. How did they get so many people to be fucking compliant with this nonsense, man? There's the real question, I think.
Well,
So I think that in some way there is a form of magic involved with it, because that's really some fucked up magic right there, is to make a populace compliant to the will of the few. That's fucking nuts, man.
Subliminal messaging, I'm sure, has a lot to do with it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
You know?
And the way you're brought up, you know, you go right at 5 years old off to the fucking indoctrination center.
Yeah.
They have you stand up and you have to pledge allegiance. You don't even know what allegiance or a pledge is. You don't even know what the fuck that means. You got this little poem they make you memorize, and you stand up and look at this fucking flag in the corner and you say this fucking little poem before class starts. You don't know what it means. It's not valid any fucking way, because you can't contract with a goddamn minor. And a pledge is a contract. They don't understand what that fucking means.
Yeah.
And it is, you make no mistakes, man. It is to that piece of cloth, because it literally fucking states, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Can you imagine you go and you're an employee of Nissan, and every day you got to turn toward the Nissan company flag, and you have to say, I promise that I'm going to bust my ass and sweat my dick off for the fucking Nissan company, you know, because they're great and shit. And you have to say that every morning. What?
They
It's
do
the
it-
same goddamn thing.
They do
Yeah,
it
the
at Walmart
Japanese-
every day.
No, they don't. Come on.
Yeah, they do. Walmart, they do exercises, and like group exercises.
Look, I've been to Walmart and I see these fucking people at work there, and ain't none of them
There
motherfuckers
ain't no
ever
exercising
exercised
going
a
on
day
there.
in their goddamn life. I can tell you that right now. Holy shit. Come on. And then there's the cripple one. Oh my God, it felt so bad. Went in there one night with my friend Anthony. This was back when it was open 24 hours a day. And we're waiting in the only line that's open, you know. And I'm thinking there's no cashier up there, but apparently there was. We nicknamed her Flash because of her speed. And finally got up there, and this poor little thing was a little short girl. And my friend, he says, I need a pack of those Parliaments. And she goes, where are they? He says, up there in the white packet. I'll be goddamn if they weren't up on a high shelf where she couldn't reach very well, right? But to make matters worse, man,
she turned around to go there and she was like gimped on one side of her body and she had to like, you know, shuffle her way over to the cigarettes in the first place. And now she got to climb up on some kind of thing. And I'm thinking, I looked at Anthony, I said, I bet you feel like a real dick right now, don't you? I think that was the same night that girl just randomly came up to us and started telling us how to make jailhouse pizza for no reason. I don't know what that was about to this day. Still perplexed by it. That was probably 15 years ago. God damn it. Wow. Yeah, that was crazy. She was just like, hey, you guys know how to make jailhouse pizza? And I was like, no. She goes, oh, well, here's how you do it. And she starts telling us how to do it. And I'm just standing there fucking listening. I got a buzz on. I'm like, okay, that's cool. You never know. I might need it someday. Shit. Way I'm getting, man, maybe. I'm like, I understand grumpy old men. I really do. I understand them. I used to understand, what the fuck are you all pissed off about? It comes from your third eye just getting too much goddamn shit in it, man. Seeing way too much and just being tired of the retardation, man. You know, that's what it is. You get tired of the fucking retardation. It's like, goddamn, is there anybody out here got an original thought? Don't come up to me and ask me, how's the weather? Nice weather we're having. Boy, did you see that game? No, I don't give a fuck about the weather. I don't care about the game. None of the other superficial shit that you're thinking about at all. Stop. Go away. What was you going to say?
I watch a guy on YouTube bussing that guy. And he does all these like jail recipes.
Oh yeah.
You know, where like you take minimal stuff and make crap out of it, Frosties and burritos and all kinds of shit. Like chopped up spam and noodles.
Dude, we had like our own little recipes for the sea rations and shit too.
Oh yeah. Ranger pudding and all that stuff.
Yeah. You could do all kinds of cool shit. You could I made strawberry shortcake one time, man. You just use the crackers, man. You knock the salt off them, you crush them up, you mix them up with a little bit of water, you cook them in your fucking bottom of your canteen cup, which I don't know, they still have a canteen cup?
I'm pretty sure they do.
Okay, so you put that in there, and then when that cooks up, then you put you can use the strawberry jam, or with the sea rations, you can use the dehydrated strawberries, a little bit of sugar. Mix a little bit of sugar with the coffee creamer, whip it up, and you got whipped cream. Boom. It's not gourmet, but goddamn it, it's better than stale ass shit out of a box. I'll tell
Not
you.
the best thing you're gonna get.
Yeah,
you gotta spruce it up, man. When they first come out with those MREs, they give those to us instead of sea rations. I was like, what the fuck are these? And they said, oh, meal ready to eat. And I'm like, what? The other ones were ready to eat too. What are you talking about?
More compact.
You just open up the fucking can and eat the shit, you know?
Yeah.
And they sold it all different ways, but something I found real soon after eating those. If you don't drink plenty of water with those fucking things, you will have the worst case of heartburn you have ever had in your life, man.
Because of
that shit will draw the fucking water out of you. Yeah, it's horrible.
I had a vomlet once. You know the vomlet? It's an MRE. It's like an egg omelet.
Oh yeah.
It's called the vomlet. I had one and it wasn't that bad, but
no, those are
some people said it was real chemical tasting, and it kind of was. I used the salsa, like the picante stuff that came with it, and kind of doused it. And I was like, all right, this isn't bad.
That's new salsa. Hell yeah. Jeez, the best you get in the sea rations, you'd hope you get those John Wayne bars. They were like a Nestle Crunch, but they were round, so they fit in the can. So they were like these round fucking candy bars that came. Those were awesome. But
Charms.
The thing when I was over in Germany, man, very soon, after you've set up your field site, there will be local kids from a town nearby that have found your fucking field site. And they're out there looking for MREs. Well, they know they ain't going to get them for free. So they bring out like beer and fucking home cooked meals and shit to trade for MREs. Hell yeah, I'll trade my MRE for some fucking Jaeger schnitzel any day of the goddamn week, man. Let's do it. Some bratwurst? Fuck yeah, let's hit it. You know? Yeah, they'd come out there and trade beer for MREs and shit. And, you know, the kids, they didn't get hassled. They was carrying beer down the road. As long as they wasn't drinking it, nobody give a fuck. You know? There was a whole different culture, man. Really amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, I've had a few MREs. I've had the civilian ones too. The civilian MREs, they're okay.
You know, I just realized I paused this poor fella on here. It really probably not a good. I mean, that is not a
Hey,
good
Jay
look.
Leno.
You know, yeah,
Damn,
no
that's
shit.
hitting, right?
I had jaw reduction. Yeah. Anyway, let her do it.
They are giving their contact number. And when that occurs and somebody gets that and they begin to do that, obviously, even a Ouija board is a spirit given way of contact, a doorway. Biblical Greek, it's a topos, a doorway that gives a legal right. They will come through. They want that door.
The most powerful ancient rituals have been passed down and immaculately kept by the heads of secret orders from the ancient world. It is by these rituals that the gods of old are summoned and cross over, empowering their henchmen to carry out their plans on the world's playing field.
Currywurst was popular when I was over there too. Silent Matthew. We currywurst, but I got to tell you how that went down. To this day, I can't eat currywurst. There was a bunch of us in the barracks in Germany, and there was a little drink hall right across the street from our barracks. And sometimes, man, if I was too drunk or whatever and I wanted beer, I could holler down there and there'd be somebody down there that I knew, and I'd just toss them money and I'd say, hey, get us a case of beer. And they'd just walk over there, get us a case of beer, and I'd lower the laundry bag down on a rope. And they put all the beers in the laundry bag and just bring them back up, you know. And I'd a lot of times let them keep the change just for doing the favor. But anyway, this place sold currywurst, and we were up in the barracks. There was me, two other dudes, and one of the dudes had his girlfriend there with us. And we're sitting there in the barracks. They were kind of like, you know, it was pretty nice barracks, really, considering from what I'd come from. Anyway, we're up there in our room, and we're drinking this beer, and we're eating currywurst from across the road. And we're drunker and shit. The guy with his girlfriend, he looks at her, and she looks at him, and he says, I love you so much. And she opened her mouth and projectile vomited fucking currywurst all over his ass, which in turn made him to fucking throw up currywurst all over the place. And that made me start dry heaving and gagging. And the other guy, he started fucking heaving and shit. And we're all just like puking up currywurst, man. We had to totally trash our couch and a whole bunch of shit because of all the currywurst puke. And to this day, currywurst is good, but I just can't fucking eat it. I can't do it. That was really bad. It's the same thing that happened to me when I was drinking Southern Comfort. I used to love Southern Comfort, and then I got sick on that fucking shit.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And it's, oh, god damn, man. Then from then on, sour mash whiskey was out. Couldn't do it.
When you were talking about the currywurst story, always said, and they say romance is dead.
I know, right? I know that was, and she was beautiful. Christine Lockeson. She was a spec 4. Beautiful, most beautiful blue eyes you ever saw. Just a cute little doll face and a nice figure. I mean, usually a lot of the women I ran across in the army, they either had a giant ass or they were a lesbian, you know. Kind of tended to look toward the civilian population for company.
The high-level Freemasons, in particular, have been involved in some of the most maniacal religious rites, gripping the very core of Washington, D.C., as they conjure the spirit of the final age. The House of the Temple, also known as the Herodome in Washington, D.C., is the holy of holies of the Masonic craft. and is also considered somewhat of a Masonic mecca to the Scottish Rite Masons around the world.
At the Herodome across town, when they are conducting the raising of Osiris ceremony, in the middle of that chapel room is an altar, and on that altar are all of the holy books of the great religions of the world. But above that is a binding utility. It's one of the most famous in all of antiquity. It's called the Magic Square of Apollo, or it's called the Magic 666 Square, because the panels and the stylized sunlight above the altar are exactly the same layout as a magic square. So it's a stylized Magic 666 Square. In antiquity, that was used to raise the spirit of Apollo from the underworld, which is central, of course, to the magic based on the great obelisk behind me, the dome behind me, and the Freemasonic and Rosicrucian ideas of the return of Apollo Osiris at the end of time to lead the New World Order. Now, to effectualize that, at the Herodome, they conduct the raising of Osiris ceremony, where the Bibles and the other books are bound beneath the Magic 666 Square. This square was famous in antiquity because when adding the numbers in any direct line, horizontally, vertically, the numbers always equaled 111. But when you added all of the numbers that are in the Magic 666 Square, they equaled 666. So interestingly, when the Freemasons built this giant obelisk to George Washington, they maintained those influential numbers in that the obelisk is 666 inches long along each of the lines at the base, but it is 555 feet high. And if you think of that as a magic square, the number 111 remains and extends down beneath the surface of the earth to reach the totality of the number 666. So all of the numbers important to a magic Apollonian square used for raising the spirit of Apollo are incorporated into the design of the Washington Monument. Now, what most Americans also don't know is right over here, beneath the ground, is a miniature obelisk made to look just like this one, except it's only 12 feet tall, 12 being the number of the perfect government that will be incorporated when the Novus Ordo Seclorum prophecy comes to its fruition and the man of sin becomes Apollo in flesh.
One of the reoccurring elements of occult rituals, both ancient and modern, is numerology. The basic principles hold that numbers have a great deal of magical and spiritual magnitude. Some numbers are more potent and carry more power than others, and strategic combinations of certain numbers can render specific magical effects. Additionally, numbers also tie into planetary significance within rituals.
In the magical Hebrew Kabbalah, each planet is associated with a number, intelligence, or spirit. The intelligence of the sun is Nakel, which equals 111, while the spirit of the sun is Soroth and equals 666. It makes sense, therefore, that Freemasons built the Washington Monument obelisk to form a magic square at its base, the exact values of the binding square of the sun god Apollo Osiris installed in the ceiling above where the Osiris ceremony is conducted in the house of the temple. 111 is also the number of the Trinity, both dark and light. Now, when you compare the raising ceremony that's held at the Herodome beneath a magic 666 square to the Washington obelisk, there's some interesting facts. In fact, the same Bible that Dan Brown called the lost symbol is a Bible that was placed in a magic binding square inside the testes of the Washington obelisk of Osiris, the Washington Monument, the purpose of which is to restrain the Bible's influence, just as it is in the Herodome, while allowing the seed of Osiris to materialize.
In order for the powerful deceivers to bring about their demonic will through magic, they attempt to attack their eternal enemy, the God of the Bible. Not only are these men seeking to raise the spirit of Osiris and bring about the kingdom of the Antichrist, but they feel the need to bind the power of the living God in order to level the playing field of the last days. But unfortunately for them, there is no binding the word of God or even remotely constraining the power of the Most High. This is a great example of them trying to manifest their will into reality via ancient magic rituals of numerology. One 20th century specimen who enacted similar rituals, dedicating his every breath to magic and numerology, is none other than Aleister Crowley.
Aleister Crowley is a Luciferian Moses, if you will, with the law of the darkest ancient magic and a proven occult track record of success. Aleister Crowley's magic and influence has been seen distinctly throughout secret societies and in the lives of celebrities, politicians, and presidents, as well as spawning various cultural movements. His themes and writings have been vastly present in popular music, television shows, and films. It's practically impossible to separate the Crowleyan ties from the spiritual shifts that we've seen in the course of the 20th and 21st centuries. His dark shadow continues to lurk over humanity as the occult prophecies persist through the end of this age.
Aleister Crowley was born in England in 1875. He was born as the only son of a very wealthy brewing family. He went to the finest prep schools and was able to enter King's College, Cambridge, where he studied at one of the most auspicious universities in the UK. While he was there at that university, he became interested in three things: poetry, mountaineering, and the occult, and studied everything he could. And he heard about an invisible college, something that the Rosicrucians used for their secret society. And he wanted to investigate and find out what this invisible college was. And it led him to join the Order of the Golden Dawn, which was a post-Masonic secret society. That means that it was beyond Masonry. So people who entered into it had already gone through all of the grades of Masonry. And he absorbed all the information from the Golden Dawn and went on to start his own religion called Thelema, which he based upon the receipt of the Book of the Law in Egypt in 1904, where he said he received this information from a being called Aiwass. During his life, Crowley wrote about the variety of different spirits that he contacted. Aiwass was one of them. Another one he termed the magician or the wizard. He also did the Alamantra working in New York in 1918, where he came in contact with a being that he drew that looks very similar to what is known today as the gray alien. Crowley thought of himself not just as an occult scholar, but really as a prophet. And he talked to himself as the prophet of the new aeon, this cosmological age that would change current understandings of the world. So he called himself this prophet of the new aeon, and he was the head, and he became the head of the German secret society, the Ordo Templi Orientis, in 1925. But why I think Crowley is really referenced as one of the most important figures in modern history is that he left a vast repository of writings. You could distill all of his teachings into one simple 11-word, 11-syllable axiom, which is, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." And that was an important clarion call for later decades in the world, particularly the 1960s, where people like Timothy Leary took that call and promoted licentiousness and drug use through American society and really world society, as many people would pick it up. And that was really his intent. He really wanted to bring on this new age of Horus, which he called the birth of the child, a birth of a new value system, a non-Christian value system. And if you look back on the 20th century history, you can see that that has been in effect upon human civilization.
Crowley, obviously, in his adamant rejection of Christ, it reminds me a little bit like Judas. You know, if your heart is walled up against God and walled against, you become very open for the other side, because that's what the other side is all about. Opposition. You know, Satan, the fallen cherub, is in opposition to God. So when there's a heart that's bent that way, and that heart is angry and so forth, you already got doors being open. And then when they pursue, demonic presence, dark side presence will only guide people to pursue darker measures so that broader doors can be open. They do love to possess people, but maybe more than that, they like to use people. 1 Timothy 4:1, where people become vessels, conduits, and the demons then can use them to write those doctrines of demons. Then that influence, look at Crowley's writings. His writings influenced far more millions than when he was alive. So he has charged writings rituals in those writings, the Amalantra working, and the crossing over of the entity Lamb. This is huge. We're talking about major rituals, and it couldn't have been done without blood. Even his own son died in one of those rituals. They're predatory. They're observers. They're watching. They're looking. And they're always going to come masqueraded. They have the power. The biblical Greek word is meta schizmazotai. It's that verse we read where Satan's able to masquerade as an angel of light. We read the verse quick, but it's real. They have the power, the supra-human power, to alter their presentation without changing their nature. And it's all done and designed for the sake of deception. So in his case, this high-level entity, engages him. And that's part of the initiation for him, from their side initiating him. Of course, he's acquiring presence, power, gaining what he would consider as knowledge from that side. And of course, then he's inspired to write. And from there, he pursued deeper and darker. Sex rituals and sex magic was big on the agenda, as is all the darkest of stuff. And then human and blood sacrifice is involved in it also. Now, some say in the Amalantra working, when Lamb came through, this entity that looks like a big head with two big eyes, it obviously looks like the Greys that eventually came out, later on in the 40s here in the United States, where that presence began to come out and be shown. Step back from that, and the Amalantra working, the people that were at the ritual acknowledge that they know, they could feel and even see something come through the porthole that Crowley in the ritual was creating. They were doing a ritual that opened a doorway, but it was so big that they could see and then feel this entity come through. They always present, whether in ufology, rituals, spirit guides, ascended masters, great white brotherhood, that side's always morphing their presentation so that it's acceptable, excitable to the individuals. No different than Genesis 3. When the fallen cherub came there, he was like the shining one. He not only amazed with what he was speaking, but his presence would have been something to amaze Eve.
Two of the well-known 20th century figures that were heavily influenced by the magic of Aleister Crowley were L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons.
See, I was just going to bring that up. But not only that, you think about these fuckers that are running this AI and these tech companies. Where's this shit coming from? They're engaged in these rituals as well. They follow this shit. Crowley was really big, even through influential music. He's on the cover of Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. He's looking out the window on Hotel California. He's all over the fucking place. Ozzy Osbourne's got a song about the dude, right? And you think about this, it's like I was thinking while this was going and my mind's got shit going in the back of it. And I'm going, you remember in that movie Contact, right? Yeah. All right. But think about what they did. These aliens or whatever transmitted to her the blueprints for a machine, right? Now, what if that demonic side is giving these people the influence to create a machine that allows them some kind of a vehicle that allows them to interact more readily with everyday people in a more personal sense? Where did the idea for this fucking quantum computing AI bullshit come from? Where did the technology actually come from? Crime and we look at some of these chips and you zoom in on them with a microscope and there's even more and even more the deeper you go. And it's like, how did they make this? Who come up with this? And I think that ideas can be drawn from the aether, from that unseen world. I mean, we take a look at the evolution of the bow and arrow. People around the world developed the idea and concept of a bow and arrow like all around the same time without having any fucking contact with each other. It's the 100th monkey effect. What? Oh, look, Stop the Cap is back. Did you?
How we doing, Dave? Is this
All
still
right.
echoing?
Did you repair your audio?
I hope so. Is it done? Is it not echoing anymore?
I don't hear an echo. Do you guys hear an echo? I don't know
Not
where
so
they
far.
were. No.
Okay. I just think it's phenomenal, Dave. You know how you got a lot of these people now, they're coming out on mainstream podcasts, news plays, whether it's military representatives or these guys like Timothy Alberino on Joe Rogan's, you know, the Kandahar Giants or the Nephilim or, you know, these cults of Baal. It's all becoming mainstream, but it's quite evident. You don't even have to be an intelligent person to notice people like this, to notice whether it was L. Ron Hubbard, Aleister Crowley, this guy Jack Parsons. You know me, Dave. I'm well studied. I'm a student of the game. So it's just crazy to me that people refuse to believe the battle between good and evil on the spiritual realm is exactly what explains what's going on here at all times. And that's why I've always given credence to the flat earth movement. I always told you, you know, going to law school, growing up as a kid, you get taught the mainstream version. But then you also, if you're smart enough, you know, well, why did we lose the telemetry data for the greatest achievement of mankind? Why is our government full of corrupt PDFs and murderous criminals and genocideers? Why are, you know, half of our scientists that helped find NASA from Operation Paperclip the people that we went to war with and told we have freedoms that we wouldn't have had if we didn't beat them? You know, these are the things that, Dave, I've always, when I listen to you or anybody that's talking about this stuff, it's shocking to me that there's such a small percentage of us, even in 2026. It's like now people are finally starting to get it, but they're just cracking the surface. And we needed these fuckers to get it together in the early 90s, early 2000s, before all these smartphones came out when I was in 3rd grade, you know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's this is and this is like these two guys right here, L. Ron Hubbard. Of course, he wrote the book Dianetics, and that's I guess like a marketing ploy for the Scientology church, which he started. He actually stole Jack Parsons' wife and his boat and took off, and his money and shit, and took off. But that's a whole nother rabbit hole. This guy was OTO. He had this sex magic cult and was in communication with Aleister Crowley, and he was like heading up pretty much the OTO in that area where he was at in California at the time. And this also exposed high-level military officers through his jet propulsion laboratory, Jack Parsons laboratory, and exposed them to this occultism too. And that brought some of them in. Let's zoom up a few years, and we've got a fucking devout Satanist, Michael Aquino, as a lieutenant colonel in the United States Army, implicated in the Presidio daycare child abuse scandal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, good God.
I mean, there's so many of those kind of. Dave, this is why, like, I always get flack for the Indian thing, but Jack Parsons, Werner von Braun, Aleister Crowley, any of these individuals who helped shape what we know today as the 21st century of modern New Age thinking philosophy, right? The pop culture, the science side of it all. They all, whether it was the Vril Society with the H word guy, and I don't know what the sensory is these days, you know, Dave, so I'm going to be careful. But, you know,
we just refer to him as the Austrian painter.
Austrian painter, you know, that painter from Austria, he had a group, the Vril Society, that were going over there to the Himalayas, to Tibet. They turned this ancient 7,000-year-old sign of peace of my fucking people. You know, I was blessed to be born in New York City. Love being American, but I'm in touch with my roots. And it's just crazy to me that they flipped that shit. All these Vimanas and Astras and chakra shit, they were into that. The occult, all of this stuff is into that. So to me, it really gives credence to these old cultures that we were always taught in school are just, you know, they were a bunch of idiots, cave dwellers. It's mythos. No, these people saw shit that we are told is not real now. And when we look at our elite, you know, framework of human beings, they're obsessed with this crap. They might as well have their little incense and human sacrifices every weekend in their temple. Oh, wait, they do. Epstein.
Yeah, Epstein's a distraction. There's way bigger shit going on than just that little operation, man.
Right, right.
Okay, that was, phew. And then you got Elon. Can I please come to your island? God, listen, they're all these people are wackadoodle, fucking evil, demonic, psychotic shitbirds, man. That's all. There's it in a nutshell. And whether you believe in this occult or not, whether you think there's any substance to it or not, the big thing that you have to realize is that they're running the fucking show, and they do. Okay? They do believe it because they go out of their way to practice it. And sorry, I can't see putting that much goddamn effort into something that doesn't bring anything to fruition. You know what I'm saying? You're only going to shake a tree so long until you get tired and no more nuts are falling off of it. You know, there's no more fruit falling off the tree. You're not going to keep shaking the fucking tree. You try to shake the tree and no fruit comes off. How long are you going to sit there and shake that tree hoping fruit's going to come off of it? And these people have been at it for a long fucking time, so there has to be something to it. You know? Anyway, let's find out more.
L. Ron Hubbard was a famous fiction writer, and of course the founder of the popular cult known as the Church of Scientology, while Jack Parsons was arguably one of the most legendary rocket scientists of all time. Both men were highly involved in Crowleyan sex magic rituals.
Both Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard were disciples of Aleister Crowley, and they practiced his teaching called Thelema as a philosophy that is defined by the maxim, "Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law." It comes from Crowley's Book of the Law, which can be connected to the spirit cooking ceremonies of the Podesta brothers and Abramovich from the WikiLeaks scandal. But these are entities that are channeled by an incorporeal demon intelligence named Awas. Thelema is a narcissistic ideology that undergirds several esoteric magic societies like the AA and the Ordo Templo Orientis that fundamentally oppose God's moral law. So Satan targets sexuality because procreation is the human capability that comes closest to the divine. And as a result, it's not surprising that sexual perversion and sex magic are essential components of occult rituals. Jack Parsons, L. Ron Hubbard's Babylon working entailed all sorts of aberrant sexual activity. Now, in Thelemic literature, Babylon has three conceptual aspects. Number one is the gateway to the city of the pyramids. Number two is the Scarlet Woman. And number three, the Great Mother. She serves as a portal for sorcerers.
One of the paramount rituals conducted in the 20th century was by two individuals, Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard. It became known as the Babylon working.
Babylon working, it was a conjuring of what they thought was called the Whore of Babylon, referred to in Revelation. So they thought the entity was real. Jack Parsons, rocket scientist, performed more than once the Babylon working, which was to bring a demonic high-level power presence into the actual sexual act so that the spirit could be then placed inside the physical
Dave, can you pause it real quick just for a few seconds?
Conception, their view was that spiritual presence would augment. So the moment of conception, there's like a explosion. All of a sudden, the human spirit is there, and that's when life begins. Well, they want to inject that presence, conjure that presence. The goal was to bring about a hybrid being.
Right. That's what I was going to ask, David. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I'm so sorry to interrupt the video, but it's just, this is what I mean. Like somebody in the chat was just saying, what does it mean to be American? This is a sheep lab, 250 years old. We're from all over the world, and we come here and work our asses off for what? For the elite? This is the craziest part to me, right? If we believe, Dave, I don't know if you believe in these ancient religious books, the Bible, all that stuff, but if we believe anything, even an inkling of what these things we're talking about, there is clear evidence of hybrid gods that have controlled this planet over time. And when it went from imperial monarchies to whatever political fallacy we're now being told we live in that gives us some limited right to make us feel better about ourselves and allow some entitlement, that's really delusion. what are we led to believe other than that there is a like evil supernatural force that has invaded our realm? And those of us that are actually from here, we feel that energy, we feel that. So in long, before I start going into a giant ranch, which I know I'm very capable of doing, what I'm trying to say is, are these people that do these drugs like DMT, you know, Jack, but these people that do these fucking acid, whatever, right? The Red Shoe Club with Podesta, you know, with the adrenochrome crap. I might be going a little too far with the words here, but how are we to sit here and believe that these people are having enlightening, elevating experiences with aliens, as opposed to being succumbed to very malevolent entities that are just waiting for that door to open so they can do what they want to do?
Possibly. That, you know, that supposedly Parsons opened a gate and he died before he could close it. And they say that that gate is still open. So, I don't know, man. Yeah, there's, I think like AI, I believe that AI is a vehicle for demons. I really do. I think they've gotten humans on the physical level to be able to make a device or a system of communication between these demons and people in a further attempt to capture them. And it's working. It's working. You wouldn't believe how many fucking people put Chat GPT answers to things. And it's like, you can't use your own brain. How do you know that's right? How do you know? And how many times have they caught that fucking thing lying to people? Right? You dig what I'm saying, man? It just don't make no fucking sense.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the biggest, you know, problem with our society today is we're dealing with a conundrum, which is you have, like, it's like a dog. You get a dog when it's a puppy. If you train it, you potty train it, you off leash train it, you train it to listen and be friendly around other animals and children and stuff, you know, German shepherds and all. It will spend the rest of its life behaving that way because that's what it was trained to do. So clearly we have been trained and programmed to behave a certain way. And what drives me crazy about that more than anything, Dave, is this: all of the young children that have any talent and potential and intellect, they get groomed by the fraternities and sororities, end up in these orders and weird cult groups, and become the very problem of the generations before them.
Yeah. Well, and you know, and in the opposite of what, you know, people should be building on knowledge, we're building on nonsense. And it seems to me that every subsequent generation coming out is fucking dumber than the last one. You know where I'm coming from? It's like a backwards evolution of intelligence. And that's definitely by design. And I think there again, I think that the public school system is a product of demonic influence. I mean, think about what you're doing to kids, man. You know, you got kids, don't you? Stop the cap. You got kids, don't you? Is this fucking thing still on?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. He probably got up to pee. Anyway.
The idea of conjuring the Whore of Babylon in this ritual was quite fitting to have taken place in America. The occult world has long desired to revive the spirit of Babylon. The resurrection of the ancient one-world system once failed, but esoterically believed to prevail at the end of this age. These occult prophecies built the framework and ideals for America to become the world's superpower and philosophic empire, the very land foreseen as the final Babylon, and revered as such, not only in the world of mysticism, but also prophetically laid out in the Bible. So on the very land of the revived Babylon, they performed the Babylon working ritual, and the conjuring began.
The Babylon working sex magic rituals that was carried out by L. Ron Hubbard and Jack Parsons, the founder of the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, happened through the mid-40s into 1946, and the whole purpose of it was to give birth to a magical being. a moon child described in Crowley's works. And so they used the powerful energy of ninth degree sex magic, rites that were intended to open a doorway through which the goddess Babylon herself, the archetype divine feminine, might be born, might come into the earth, might appear in human form. Now, Jack Parsons believed that he and L. Ron Hubbard actually accomplished this task of bringing the whore of Babylon into materialization through a series of rituals that culminated in 1946. Jack Parsons' own biography actually preserves a celebratory statement in which he says that she was embodied in the womb of a female child. And in a fragment from his writings, Parson, who says he's exhausted but also exultant, he declares the work a success and believed that Babylon, in the manner of a dark, immaculate conception, was due to be born to a woman somewhere on earth within 9 months' time. He actually wrote, Babylon is incarnate upon the earth today, awaiting the proper hour for her manifestation. Now, if one could believe these writings, you would expect that a female child was to be born around 1947. And indeed, such an influential feminist was delivered that year, who could offer the most promise for identifying the fruit of Parsons' infamous ritual. And that would be none other than Hillary Rodham Clinton. Intriguingly, Parsons later referred again to the Babylon Scarlet Woman, and this time by a particular name, in his Book of the Antichrist on October 31, 1948, a full 69 years ago, when the female child would have been around 1 year of age. Parsons wrote that the spirit of Babylon came to him, but this time identifying itself as Hilarion, who, he said, would grow on to become an international public figure dedicating to bringing the work of the Antichrist to fruition. Why is that important? Because the etymology of Hilarion is the arcane Hillary. Now, you have to ask yourself, how many internationally influential feminists were born in 1947 who are named Hillary and that have the potential to become the leader or vice president or influence the election of the president of the United States, the most powerful nation on earth that was dedicated from its inception to the enthronement of Osiris Apollo, who the Bible itself recognizes as Antichrist, and also ask how possible it would be that an entity calling itself Hillary made clear to Jack Parsons 69 years ago that it was dedicated to helping the rise of the man of sin.
According to Bill Clinton in a number of books, Hillary Clinton has been involved with Wicca, gone to so-called Wicca meetings or quote churches in Los Angeles. And she would decorate the White House Christmas tree, according to Gary Aldridge, with occultic-like figurines.
That's a great book. You can get that on Amazon. That is a great book. There's a lot of inside information about some shit that was going on in there. If you get a chance, look it up. It's called Unlimited Access. And this guy, he quit. He was close to retirement and he quit. He was so fucking disgusted with the shit that was going on in there. It wasn't even funny, man. You'll get people, you'd walk into a room and there's like two dudes getting it on the fucking desk and shit. You know, I mean, there was all kinds of nut shit going on in that outfit, man. Crazy. But that's interesting. That's interesting. Because how would have, you know, what's the odds? Hillary, same year, and this thing coming to Crowley and identifying itself as Hilarion. That's, I don't know, man. It's a lot of coincidence, man. A lot of fucking coincidence. And given what the fuck she really is, man, you know, and how she is. I know I've heard stories about her having to have cover stories, even as First Lady of Arkansas. Because that's right, fucking smack dab in the middle of the Bible Belt, right? You can't have your constituents knowing that you going off to a fucking witch coven, because they kind of get a little upset about shit like that. So, you know, they'd have to run cover for her, and she'd be going out to San Francisco, ironically, San Francisco. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Nancy Pelosi was involved with this shit as well, man. So, yeah. Stands to reason, man. It all just stands to reason.
That's rather bizarre, I would think. She was involved in communicating with the dead, much like Eleanor Roosevelt did.
All these questions came to my mind recently when reading the WikiLeaks email revelations and remembering how Hillary had hinted that alien disclosure would come if she was elected president, and how the people around her, Abramovich, the Podestas, others close to Hillary, affiliates of hers, were manifest believers in the same UFOs and what they call contiguous aliens, the same that Parsons and Hubbard saw through the Church of Scientology, and so on, that's actually based on an alien called Xenu, as well as being practitioners of the same Crowley occultism that Parsons and Hubbard were devotees of. When you consider all this, it seems to be immediately beyond probability of coincidence that in the days leading up to the last presidential election, these modern Telimas actually believed that Hillary is, or that she could be, the incarnation of the archetype divine feminine, the whore of Babylon, the Hilarion that is set to take the throne of the most powerful nation on earth to assist the Antichrist in his bid to rule the entire world.
This constant theme of the whore of Babylon, or the worship of the Babylonian goddess, saturates the American system, from the steeples of government buildings and cathedrals all the way to the Statue of Liberty off the coast of New York. It has always been a mainstay of the American system. Whether we're dealing with Lady Liberty, Athena, Isis, or even Gaia, we are constantly being inundated with this ancient occult theme of goddess worship across our land.
And also, I just wanted to make note, take a look at this, just kind of blur your eyes a little bit, and notice that this is like in the shape of the labia. Here's the little clitoris up here in the top. Here's the other labia here. It's always like, look at the Jesus. They have him worked out that way as well. It's symbolism, man. You guys got to see it.
But how would the cabal strategically embed this idea of goddess worship into the culture of the everyday American citizen? How could they condition a society into following after such a perversion on a massive scale?
America's introduction to accepting a pagan worldview in a serious way began April 22nd, 1970. It happened in high schools, it happened in colleges, thousands of high schools and colleges. April 22nd, 1970 was America's first National Environmental Teach-In, America's first Earth Day. When America's first Earth Day was introduced, the National Teach-In, Friends of the Earth put together a handbook called the Environmental Handbook, really simple. And in the Environmental Handbook, the very first set of essays and articles introduces the reader to a Smokey the Bear Sutra, where Smokey the Bear comes to America's youth as a mystical being coming to crush the butts of the capitalists, to crush out the cigarette butts. Of course, that's the imagery of Smokey the Bear. Crush out the butts of those who see exceptionalism, that see differences, that see uniqueness, that see separation.
Does anybody remember the early Earth days? I remember that. I think I remember this, like at least the first or second Earth Day, because I had like this. Well, my first grade teacher was too. My first grade and my second grade teacher were hippies, like hippie girls, and they were pretty cool. They'd, instead of having you sit at your desk, you just have everybody gather around in a circle and shit. That kind of trying a new way of teaching and everything. And she was all freaked out about Earth Day. And we had this, I remember we went outside and had like this great big huge ball. I think it was probably like 6 foot in diameter, but it wasn't real heavy. You could bounce it around all over the place, and it was shaped like the earth. And we was out there playing with that thing in the playground.
Shaped like what?
Like the earth, you know, globe
I
earth,
know, I'm
you know
just
what I'm
messing
saying?
around. Yeah.
And there again, indoctrinating you with that fucking globe shit. But I remember that thing was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
You could walk up and kick it, and it'd go a good long ways up through the air, and then bounce and roll and shit. The thing was really something else. Of course, it was hollow, you know.
Yeah.
Lending credence to the
Hollow
hollow
Earth.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember Earth Day. I don't know, is it really caught on a whole lot, but when I was a little kid, it was big. At least at school, it was.
Yeah.
It's just like it's the constant, you know, when you go into like Christmas or like all these Thanksgiving, all these holidays, it's the constant kind of ritualist. It's energy. I don't know who it was. Was it David Icke or Alex Collier back in the day? You know, a lot of these guys were shills. You know, a lot of them, like, you know, we often talk about Alex Jones being a Fed or whatever. But somebody had mentioned like this loosh thing or whatever back in the early 90s, and everyone started picking up on it. But I genuinely feel like all these war areas where there's just war and innocence just in pain and fear, constant turmoil. It's like a lunch buffet, like an American Golden Corral for these entities, you know? And these people are trying to show us how the uber intellectual, or the self-proclaimed uber intellectual anyway, they have this method of controlling us through, you know, when you like take basic marketing classes, you learn that certain colors will attract you to certain emotions. That's why McDonald's uses yellow, you know, because it actually makes you want to eat food. Certain commercials, they'll use in just those 30 seconds, so many things that make you want to, when you go into a store, you want to buy that product, Axe, whatever. So it's like, I feel like these people, they're trying to break down that for us, but it's so far out for most people. They're not able to wrap their heads around it. But it's like, if you just look at your whatever can of liquid you're drinking, or your TV, or the clothes you're wearing, it's everywhere, man. They're using this kind of unspoken magic on us, and Disney channels led us to believe it's all just fairy tales, you know?
Well, there's different forms of magic being cast upon us at all times that you're not really aware of. Okay. And like you just pointed out, sigil magic. Okay, that's the use of symbols, colors, imagery. Okay, sigil magic, or sign magic, like you're saying. It's designed to influence you, and along with that, you've got Enochian magic, which is speech magic. English is one of the worst for that, because so much inference and double entendres. It's a very, very deceptive language, even within its word system, you know, through and through, right? You got
you say what you mean, but you don't mean what you say, kind of thing.
The past tense of through, right? But to pass through something is completely different. They both sound exactly the same phonetically, but one means to go, you know, within and then back out, to go through something, and the other one is the past tense of throw. And we've got several examples of that, and rules that just don't follow along. Like even with that word through, okay? We take off the THR off the front, and we put a C there. Now what is it? It's cough.
Dave, can you
explain? How did it get a fucking F? How did it get an F sound all of a sudden? It was through, and now it's cough. Got the same OUGH, right?
Yeah.
One's an F and one's not. Why?
Well, I was gonna lead that to have you explain to the chat what it means to say I am, because isn't that the same thing?
Well, let me finish with the different magics. I've only given you two of the magic that is used on you simultaneously at all time. So we've got the Enochian magic, sigil magic, right? Illusory, okay? The process of illusion. Where do we get, and everything is off TV and off of movies and news, which is just fucking theater, right? So we have this illusory magic being placed on us too, all at the same time. And there's another one. I just lost the damn thing. There's a sigil, Enochian. Yeah, even like with the deceptive, like what I was saying with the magic, with the word magic in the English language, it can be run on people so easily. The use of a double negative will make someone infer something different. I don't have no money. What did I really say? I just said that I have money. Because I said I have no money. I don't have no money. So it
Yeah,
means I
you're
have money,
implying. Yeah.
right? So that's what a double negative can do. You can also make inferences like I use this one often. I've never killed anyone that didn't deserve it. That will cause someone to assume that I have killed people, but only those that deserved it or that I felt deserved it. But I never said that. I just picked a particular group.
Right.
Okay. And I said I've never killed them, right? So nobody's ever found any of the bodies that I've buried. That's absolutely true because I've never buried anyone's body. You see? But that would infer people would get the see how that works? They've done that with the definition of level. They say the first part of it says no part higher than another, right? And this is a recent addition that they did online with the Webster's Dictionary. It says no part higher than another, a horizontal orientation with no part higher than another. Okay, cool. Then the next part of it says conforming to the liquid portions of Earth's surface. Okay, conforming to the curvature of the liquid portions of Earth's surface. That's true because there's no curvature and it does follow it. It never said that there's curvature to the liquid portions of Earth's surface at all. You inferred that on your own.
Dave,
and if you inferred that like that, then that would mean that you have to trash the very first part of the definition, the main part, the most important part of the definition.
Dave, could I ask you a question real quick? Cause I don't want to throw you off
just
track.
did.
ADHD is driving you crazy. I know. I've done it twice in 2 minutes. I'm sorry. But is that the same as like when you say like fuck my life or I am, like when you're manifesting things, like how you're describing?
Yeah, well, yeah, you're going to manifest that shit and you're going to believe it. Your subconscious is going to pick it up. Here's a good example. If you ever noted, and I'm sure that many people have, a mistake that they make continually, the same mistake over and over. And they'll go, God, I always do that. Well, you just told yourself that next time you're going to do that again because you always do that.
Shit.
You believe it. You absolutely believe it. So, that you'll keep making that mistake if you keep telling yourself that you always do that. Oh, I always do that. God.
Yep. They don't even have to try as hard anymore because everybody has their cell phones.
Damn. It's been like amplified, regurgitated. Dude, you guys are fucking tripping me out. This is why I stay in the chat, man.
What's she talking about?
Oh, well, I'm sure Cubby can explain it.
There's something going on in the chat that I'm not aware of.
No, I'm saying like when I get on these panels and I talk to you guys trip me the hell out. Like this is why I like to just listen in the chat, because it's way more real and visceral for me. Like the smartphone's really fucking amplified. Like what Cubby just said, that whole regurgitation and what
they don't have to try as hard anymore with all the old tactics that they used to use because everybody's carrying a cell phone nowadays. We're all connected.
Yeah.
At the drop of a hat. We're on this, when 2020 came about, they started all with the Zoom meetings. Now look, this is how we do these live streams all the time now. Now it's just a thing. We all get on here and do this. They call them panels, Everybody thought that they would just go away. It's like, oh, we just use that for work while we were all quote unquote locked down. But here we are, still using it, still doing it. Because it's convenient, right? Just like a phone is convenient.
Yep.
But it is what it is.
Yeah. Everything all connected up. And then I think about that, how Skynet was advertised when they was pushing that in the Terminator series, that it was, finally everything all in one connection,
Mm-hmm.
You can just trash all this other shit. You just got one connection to all your email, everything. It's all automated. You're just good to go, you know. And people were buying, pre-ordering, and all this other shit. Next thing you know, the fucking thing takes over. Why? Because Defense Department got caught into it, right? Well, they were the ones that developed it in the first goddamn place with every intention is to give it autonomy over the fucking military weapons, right? Oh, wait, they're doing that.
You want to do a fun little experiment? Just walk into a room and ring a bell and look at how many people just automatically
their
look
phone.
down at their cell phone.
Yeah.
Every time.
I don't know
I'm
why
gonna
I'm
try that.
echoing.
I don't
I'm
know,
echoing
I
through
don't
something.
It's
I don't
it's
know.
it's the same. It's something with StreamYard, man. Because like when I click off mine, now I see Sav. When I click it back on, I only see me. It's something going on with StreamYard.
Yeah. I don't know why it's echoing. Sav, can you mute for a second?
Yeah.
Hello, 1, 2, 3. Hello, 1, 2, 3. See, no echo.
Yeah, it's StreamYard. There's something going on with StreamYard. Just like I said, when I click off, I can see Sav now, but when I click myself back on, I can't see Sav. So
Yeah,
there's something within the settings that's weird and funky going on. It is what it is tonight, I guess.
When you're muted, Sav, you're muted.
You're like you're in a smoky room or something to me on screen. But then on let me see, let me hit the live. There,
You
you're
put it-
normal on there.
Yeah, you're normal. See, I don't hear myself echoing. Oh,
I
I
do
do a
now.
little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
Give
something.
me one hot minute. Give me one hot minute.
All right.
I'm gonna do something here.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. It seems either it's StreamYard related or on Sav's end.
Yeah, it might be.
Because now I can hear you fine.
Yeah, his mic is picking up my sound, and I don't know
Yeah.
why. It might be something that's running in the back, or
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, it seems like, and then same with Stop the Cat or Dave or whatever you go by. Same
That's
thing.
right. That was Dave was my dad's name.
See, now you're echoing. It's weird.
It was crazy when my dad passed. He passed like 3 years ago. That's when I found Dave. Man, that was weird.
Gotcha.
Let me try something.
Just this old man on YouTube telling people about the truth.
You're calling old man.
Uncle Sav.
No, Dave's younger than most of us motherfuckers. We're all gonna
Yeah.
die before Dave. Don't get it twisted.
Shit. Come on, don't curse me like that. I ain't trying to stay here a long time. Fuck this place, man.
He's gonna be rolling around in the chair singing "Taste the Biscuit."
Yes, sir.
Anybody can go at any time. I actually just had a longtime family friend pass
Yeah, it
the other
happens.
day, so it's just like, you know,
Your time
anybody's
is your
time can be
time,
up
man.
at any time.
Yep.
Yeah, people
Yep,
always ask me how my day's going. I'm like, hey man, any day alive is a good day. Like, you know, if you're not 6 feet under, it's a blessing.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. But you know the thing is you gotta live in the now. You gotta live in the
Yeah.
now because that's all there really is. You know,
Mm.
the past and the present don't exist, or the past and the future don't exist at all. The only thing that actually exists is now. You see, and you know, if you're too focused on the past or you're too focused on the future, you know, you're
Mhm.
missing now. 'Cause for one, the future is just in your imagination. You know,
Yeah.
and the past is nothing
Yeah.
more than a recollection.
You
So
can only
you can't
control what's
live
in
there.
front of you.
It's okay
Yeah.
to access it back and forth from time to time, but don't live there. You know,
No, sometimes it's hard not to look in that rearview mirror, though. You look at them better days, and it's tough sometimes, you know.
that's what I'm saying. I mean, that's what I said. You can access it by all means. That's why you have the ability to do so, but don't live there.
Yeah, don't
Think
stay there.
about
Yeah.
this. What if you did go and you realize that you spent your dying moments living in something that you only imagine, like the future, like something that could happen, you know? And that's the problem with that too, when people live into that, because it's born out of fear, you know? Oh, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if it does? It hasn't. Just shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I know. Don't speculate.
Right. You know, you're
What,
going to
uh,
live in that what coulda, shoulda been, you know, crap. Go with what's going on right now, you know? Yeah, go ahead and give a little, projection into the future from time to time based on what you currently have going on and what you can recollect, but don't fucking, you can't predict the future.
For the
Anything could
lo-
happen, you
After I
know?
had my accident, I had this recurring dream over and over and over where I was sitting in the back. You remember those station wagons that had the suicide seats in the back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you were a kid, and
Yeah.
you could sit and look out the back window, the
Yeah,
car
make
driving.
faces at the fucking people behind you and
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. My
Your
dad had a
holler at
wagon.
my dad rolled up that back window. It had automatic windows.
You were telling me.
And my brother was sticking his head out the fucking window.
Ooh.
Sticking his tongue out, mean mugging people in the road and shit. And my dad told him, says, "Get your head back inside. I'm rolling up this window." Well, my brother, he didn't listen a whole lot. And he started pulling his head back through, but that window was right here and fucking caught his head. My brother's going, ah, like that. My dad's just back there going, "Quit fucking making that stupid noise. I'm trying to get this window up." And he's going, "Ah."
The dream that I had was recurring was that I was sitting in the back of that suicide seat because my dad called it the rumble seat.
Yeah, okay.
He called it the rumble seat. And we were little kids, he had a Plymouth, so you could swing the door, you could swing the floor up, and it had like a ring in the floor. You lifted the piece up, and it had seats looking backwards, so you could look out the back. And that was the recurring dream of that. The car was driving down. There was no cars, and I was just looking out that back window. And I remembered, where is this coming from? And I thought, my dad's wagon, sitting in the seat in the back and looking out the rear window as the car was going down the highway. There's no cars on the road. That was my recurring dream of sweaty mess, And I'm like, why am I having this over and over? And I think maybe it had something to do with that kind of a look back kind of thing,
Weird.
kind of a backwards look, like, you're driving away, but you're looking backwards, and I thought, man, that's got some someday I'm going to figure out what that meaning is.
It's obvious.
Yeah.
It's pretty much what I just said.
I dream a lot, and I've never had a recurring dream ever.
But also,
I'd say, Cubby, it's weird. Like, I've talked to people about deja vus, and I've had them about the most irrelevant things, like just sitting in a room, seeing something like a teacher talking in a classroom or whatever. And I'll have them 3 years later, like I'll experience that, or a friend talking to me, a family member being at somebody's house. Really weird. But hey, guys, it's always an honor talking to you. Genuinely, thanks for always putting up with my spurgy ass. You guys are great. Dave, you're the best, dude. Cubby, it was a pleasure talking to you, man.
All right, take care, man.
Scott, you're the best, bro. Keep supporting Dave. He's one of the goats, man.
All right. Thanks, man. Yeah, I was thinking another possible meaning to that is also that don't forget to look back as you go forward and draw off of the experiences. You know what I'm saying? Because let's face it, we do base a lot of our future actions on the experience of that same action in the past.
Yeah.
Right? Real simplified, you don't put your hand on a fucking hot burner of a stove on purpose, but one time ever, if you do it at all. It's not something you're going to go, hey, I'm going to try that again and see if it still burns me. No, it's going to, right? So that's kind of a,
yeah,
how you get in it. But when I say that is as like, when I say live in the now, it's okay to access the past and the future, but you can't fucking live in either one. You just can't. Now, you can your manifestation aspect of it is that you do use that that future prediction kind of. You believe that that's going to happen, and a lot of times the path will set right in front of you for it to happen without you really even trying. It'll just be, oh, there's another stepping stone that'll help me with what I was after. That's what I find to happen.
As much I joke about manifesting things from time to time, but I never try and do it. Like I'm just like, whatever happens is gonna happen. I'm not that kind of person that like try and force things to happen.
No, it's not so much of a forcing, but you.
Well,
you
right,
in the realm of possibility. It's like I really would like to have this happen like this. You
It's a
know,
wishing
I
well.
can-
It's a
I
wishing
can
well.
picture myself. I can picture myself in such situation. I see it happening. I believe it's happened. It's
Yeah.
already happened.
Yeah.
And it will. You know?
Yeah.
But
It's
you
a
have
wishing.
it takes,
It's a wishing well.
well, it's not, because it can't really be like of a selfish type nature so much. You know, it's greed is not going to feed it at all, because what comes about from that is the ingredients involved that are really important are gratitude for it having already come to fruition, and the belief that it already has happened. You know,
Yeah.
you grab the feeling, put yourself in the feeling of it. You know, you put yourself in the moment of that coming to fruition as though it has. And that is powerful fucking energy, especially if people understood that that's what prayer is all about. And you get a lot of people together like-minded with that technique of prayer, and it does
Yeah.
affect change. I think it was they did some kind of a project. They called it a peace project, and it was people that were highly trained in this. It's basically a Tibetan form of prayer, and they went to, like, on a Friday night to Chicago, and they prayed peace with that gratitude that it had come to fruition and the belief that it had become to fruition. And you know what, man? They were sending people home early from the ER. Police were going home early, not having nothing to do. There wasn't hardly any calls. Shit. They did this in several major cities and found that it actually had an effect on the rate of crime and everything.
Yeah.
And they even figured it down to a formula. I think it was the square of 1%, the square root of 1% of the population of a given area is all it takes to affect change through that method of prayer. And
Well, I guess there ain't enough people manifesting these demons to get out of the the government and stuff, because
no, because they've trained everybody to be reactionary and not actionable. Another thing, even through their spiritual beliefs, they purposely taken out the Book of Thomas, which gives you the instructions of proper prayer, man. And it's just like what I was telling you. And you have to get on that resonance too. You know, the natives knew this of many cultures. This is why they use, like, the drums. Okay. Those drums are not doing anything to communicate with spirits or anything like that. What is going on is they're getting the person into a resonant state of awareness, into a certain frequency. It's
Yeah.
just like with the didgeridoos that the Aborigines use.
Yeah.
They're not using that as the communication so much as they're using it to tune themselves to a frequency to communicate telepathically with one another. That's the whole point of it. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And of course, they take that out of the Bible. They're not going to let you know that. They're going to give you a couple little holy poems to say, and close your eyes and put your hands together, and that'll work. Go ahead, abracadabra. That ain't how it fucking works, man.
Yeah.
Not a bit. Anyway, let's get back on with this. We ain't got a whole lot more of it, but I think
I
it's
might not make it, but we'll see.
We'll see. We might have to do a part 2 on this. Let's see if we get to a chapter. We might.
Now, it doesn't quite say exactly that, but that's what you can read between the lines. Later on in the Environmental Handbook, Lynn White Jr. has an essay. It's a very famous essay. In fact, this essay really set the tone for the environmental movement. The essay demonstrated that Christianity is to blame. The world's ecological crisis rests on Christian shoulders. And until we move away from a Christian worldview, until we move away from a Christian ethos, we will continue to have a worsening ecologic crisis. What's interesting is Lynn White Jr. said what we need is a new religion. We need a new way of looking at the world through a different lens. No longer Christianity, but some other religious construct. Towards the back end of the Environmental Handbook, you have a list of acceptable religions, acceptable religious practices. Buddhism, shamanism, earth-friendly religions. Christianity, right out. No longer necessary. Christianity is the problem. The solution is opening ourselves up to new forms of spirituality, an earth-friendly, earth-centric, earth-loyalty-based spirituality. And that flavoring of the very first Earth Day comes through all the way to now. America was introduced to Gaia, to the Mother Earth, to the ancient idea that the Earth is alive as a spiritual entity on April the 22nd, 1970. When we consider Gaia and Gaia worship, the idea of a great mother, we can go all the way back through ancient times and see elements of her scattered throughout different cultures. Ishtar, Isis, Diana, Athena. What's interesting is the great mother, the great goddess, Gaia, to use that language, becomes almost an umbrella mother that absorbs all into her, because it's all built around continuity and oneness.
It's even more damning to consider that the city chosen as the capital of the United States, Washington, D.C., literally stands for the District of Columbia. The nation's capital was named for the New World's goddess of liberty and was from her 1776 infancy a reincarnated Isis, containing all the necessary attributes of the ancient infernal goddess. Her worship and reverence is spread far beyond pagans and covens and cabals, reaching into public schools, universities, and mainstream beliefs. Out of this occult District of Columbia, the spirit of the goddess seethes continuously.
As we consider the various elements of occult rites, we can't overlook the power of blood. One of the highest forms of magic involves the sacrificing of human life, the spilling of blood. Blood sacrifice has been held to the highest regard for thousands of years, and it is believed to quickly engage the other side.
We interface with this body through the blood. The life is in the blood. So we're connected. We're not just up in the pineal gland. Our whole human spirit is housed, and we're plugged in through the blood. There's physics to this. So when you have a blood sacrifice and chemicals are being released in that blood sacrifice, everything's heightened. That's why they want to raise the energies. They want pain and fear and terror. They want all of us to be raised because it helps broaden the door so the spirit can come in and interface, grab into the end of rituals when the issue of death comes. And that's how they're designed. When death eventually comes, then that gives the complete doorway for the spirits to come over. Then they're on this side.
Moving forward on the ritualistic timeline of America, we find a massive blood sacrifice, plotted and carried out by the deep state globalist cabal, invoking the magic, once again, of Aleister Crowley. Most Americans probably have no inclination that the events of September 11th, 2001 were a web of magic blood rituals, finely crafted and strategically woven with the goal of bringing about the new aeon.
The events of 9/11/2001 were suffused with occult significance. The numbers that were inculcated into the event all had ties back to the occult in general and Aleister Crowley specifically. The numbers of the planes were 11, 93, 77, and 175. In Aleister Crowley's doctrines, 11 was the number of the new aeon, but also the number of magic, as it fused in both the pentagram and the hexagram. So the first plane that hit the two twin towers, which also were an ideogram in the skyline of an 11, was plane 11. The second plane that hit the twin towers was 175, which is a ritual within Crowley's system about the God you adore. The number 77 was very important to Crowley. As we talked about earlier, it was the number of Babylon and the beast conjoined. So 77 plus 77. So 77 was important. It was also the number of Crowley's doctrine, do what thou wilt on steroids, which is Liber Oz, his book 77, which dictates you can do what you want, and if anybody gets in your way, you're allowed to kill them. So that was 77. And then 93 were two numbers that are specific to Aleister Crowley. They represent two doctrines that are within his religion of Thelema, doctrines of agape and Thelema, both of which in the Kabbalah, in the specific subset of the Kabbalah, Gematria, if you add up the numbers of the letters, both add up to 93. So you can see those numerical signs in the events, the events of 9/11, which were pregnant with meaning and created great change in the world, which would be consistent with Crowley's definition of magic, which is to create change in the world in conformance with your will. These two monolithic buildings, the Twin Towers, were both 110 stories tall. And they also set against the skyline a huge 11, which to Crowley wasn't just a number, but also an ideogram, meaning these two different things had something. It was the symbolizing of the union of opposites, which is a very important doctrine within the occult, where two opposites come together and create something new. So those two twin towers were also referenced back to the two pillars that were in the original temple at Jerusalem, Boaz and Jachin. These two pillars that actually had occult significance. They both related to two different things, but they're also related to the pillars of Hercules, which means that that event in an occult context, the September 11th event, 2001, was a doorway to a new world, a new aeon, if you will. And that whole event can be correlated to a Wicker Man type of event where people were put in, not to their knowledge, but as a human sacrifice, turned to ash in the creation of a future world of chaos and war, just like it was said in Crowley's Book of the Law.
Interestingly, back in 2005, while the wounds of 9/11 were still fresh, George W. Bush made reference to this new order of the ages declared by our nation's founders. And he specifically stated that they were acting on an ancient hope that was meant to be fulfilled. If nothing else, this was a reference to the occult prophecies of this revived Babylon, this destined continent of occult enlightenment. But could the 9/11 ritual of the new aeon have any connection to all of this beginning to be fulfilled? Some researchers wholeheartedly believe that Bush's comments were a public declaration that the rituals of 9/11 had indeed begun this new order of the ages, or in the Crowleyan style language, the new aeon.
We have confidence because freedom is the permanent hope of mankind, the hunger in dark places, the longing of the soul. When our founders declared a new order of the ages, when soldiers died in wave upon wave for a union based on liberty, when citizens marched in peaceful outrage under the banner Freedom Now, they were acting on an ancient hope that is meant to be fulfilled. History has an ebb and flow of justice, but history also has a visible direction set by liberty and the author of liberty. When the Declaration of Independence was first read in public and the Liberty Bell was sounded in celebration, a witness said it rang as if it meant something. In our time, it means something still. America in this young century proclaims liberty throughout all the world and to all the inhabitants thereof. Renewed in our strength, tested but not weary, we are ready for the greatest achievements in the history of freedom.
Continuing on the trail of occult rituals of our great nation, we find a bizarre series of events, including pedophilia and a strange archaic practice known as spirit cooking. These events have made the headlines through the Clinton Podesta email leaks. Once again, we find high levels of government-sponsored occultists exercising Crowleyan magic, leaving their marks on society with things that are so profane We couldn't believe it had we not had substantial red-handed proof.
As soon as spirit cooking entered into the public eye, photos were leaked showing a wide range of high-profile guests involved in these cannibalistic dinner parties. Marina Abramovic has made many rounds with celebrities and politicians as a type of spiritual guru or witch who is said to have some type of radiant energy she can impart by gazing into one's soul. It's not shocking that she has ties to Hillary Clinton, who some claim is a practicing witch and necromancer and possible channel for Hilarion.
John Podesta, of course, his brother went to some rather bizarre spiritual types of activities that were very occultic, certainly demonic, I would argue, where blood and semen and breast milk and so forth were involved by this so-called performance artists. And this was well publicized in the last couple of years, even in their own homes. The art reportedly is of a very unsavory flavor for the average person to behold. You have these types of activities that profile someone that is rather frightening and evil, I would argue, as a lot of globalists would seem to fit that description.
Also in the WikiLeaks email, there were images of John Podesta flashing hand symbols with the number 14, the number of pieces that Set chopped Osiris into, and a fish on his other hand, which is the animal that ate the phallic 14th piece of Osiris, his corpse, his male organ. These are symbols that occultists directly connect to necromantic rituals that occultists like Aleister Crowley, Jack Parsons, L. Ron Hubbard, Freemasons, and evidently Hillary staffers employ during sex magic ceremonies for one purpose: to raise or to summon Osiris, Apollo, the spirit that the Bible says will be incarnate within the Antichrist.
Whether it's seances in the White House from Lincoln to Reagan, maniacal rites of the elite, or even ritual-based observances sold to the public, America is truly fulfilling the ancient prophecies, leaving no stone unturned. But the great ritual of the ages that is yet to come is not only the pinnacle of high-level Freemasonry, but it is the capstone event tying together the prophecies of the end of the age from all the major religions and belief systems. It is the ritual that would ignite the resurrection of the Antichrist. The raising of the Osiris will be the greatest harnessing of Luciferic energy the world has ever seen. And when Osiris rises, the end is near.
You don't reckon they did that when, Trump didn't even put his fucking hand on that Bible when he swore in? He didn't even put his hand on that Bible.
Probably would have caught on fire if he did.
Yeah, right. Yeah, most literally. I mean, and they said they do this ceremony like the same time as the inauguration's happening in that fucking temple they got just down the street. You reckon maybe this is and Donald Trump's obsessed with Apollo.
Yeah, that's what you were talking about earlier.
So I don't know, man.
I'm gonna roll out, guys. But I'll catch you
out?
I'll catch you on the next one.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna call it anyways. We'll get back into this tomorrow night. We only got a little bit of it left, but run a little long because we talked and stopped and whatnot. So that's cool. And it'll give us a little bit more, and then we can get into some other stuff as well, maybe some follow-up on that, because I think this opens a lot of avenues of discussion as well, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I just remember I'm in a hour and 46, well, I'll just leave it open.
146, okay.
Yeah. Hour and 46, yeah.
It's good to see you guys. Good to see everybody in chat too.
Yeah. Glad everybody showed up. We almost got 200 tonight, but we're kind of going back a little bit now.
You had a couple of issues, but
yeah.
Hopefully I'll get rid of them.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a hold of my cousin and have him come by here and see if he can fucking tune this thing up or something. He's pretty good with that kind of shit, so we'll see what's up. Anyway, Cubby, D-Man, thanks
Yep.
for coming up.
Good to see you
Everybody
guys.
that popped up here, and those of you in the old Chatterino, it's good to see everybody. New people, welcome, share, subscribe. We offer quite a bit of variety on this show, but always into the interesting and rabbit hole-y type stuff, man. That's what we like to look at. So everybody, don't forget. Oh, and also Tamara Cheville's books, awesome things. Let me pull one up just to show you where it's at. The links are down in the description, and you can let me get to it. Where are they? Here we go. I can share over here on Amazon. She's got, let me share this on the screen. We've got Nuclear Weapons, Truth Bomb, and Explosion of Lies. And you can see it's only $20. It's got some great stuff in there about how there's never been any proof of these things actually going off. The camera footage that you see in these old films, they try to show you the little house. It's all just a fucking model, you know. And these are great because you can have them out or somebody looking at it and they're like, "What the hell?" And it starts the conversation. And then of course you can do what you do and go and say, "Well, here, let's look at this Galen fella that worked for the Nuclear Regulation Commission and let's see what he's got to say about that shit," right? He's obviously a believer, right? No, you find much different. We've also, what else has she got on here? Level Plain Poem, The Flat Earth in Introduction, another one that's only 15, and you can see 5 out of 5 stars. And there's some other great ones on here. Let's see, here's one. Is this her too? Yeah. Harpies. You got Flat Earth Fun Facts. That's a good one to have around. Head scratchers, stuff to make you go, "Hey, wait a minute, if we're on a spinning ball, how could this fucking shit be going on?" Here's some more on it's got stuff on Tartaria, and the possible ancient civilization. Go over and check them out. Even if you don't get one, go over to the Amazon site, check them out. I find that they've opened a lot of eyes up, so maybe you will too. And they're done really nice, quite colorful as well. So, as we always like to say on this show, don't forget, the Lord loves the working man. Don't trust Whitey. See your doctor and get rid of him because he'll probably kill you. And it's always better to shit in the sink than it is to sink in the shit. We'll see you next time on Sovereign Soul. Join us tomorrow night, same time. We're going to go over the rest of this, and we'll get into some more of this stuff from like the ancient civilization, a little bit along those lines. But I think it's really important that people know the occult roots of your own government. Just saying. So anyway, everybody have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow night. Have fun.